Morning mayhem, Tommy and Casper's live. Dodging bullets of our past, now we strive. Recovery mode, ex-addicts unchained. Current events laced with the scars we gained.
Good morning and happy Saturday. I am Casper and you have found the Morning Mayhem Show. Welcome all. Tommy will be with us in a minute, which is perfect because I just want to apologize for last night. I know you guys don't need to hear an apology from me, and that I just want to apologize for kind of lightweight melting down, I guess. I'm going to leave the video up for a little bit longer in case anyone wants to really see me have a meltdown live. But then I'm going to take it down. But anyways, happy Saturday. Thank God it's Saturday. Not because of like we have a break from the morning show, but just thank God it's Saturday. It's 32 degrees here. That means I'm going to be, well, I wear shorts even in the below weather, but that means I can wear shorts and not a heavy jacket. So I'm really looking forward to that. Super stoked about that. I'm going to have, do something today. We're going to take some, oh wait, no, that's tomorrow. So after church tomorrow, we're going to take Hazley. They basically Billings has built their own indoor Disneyland, and it's super huge, and they got all kinds of like slides and like not rides really, but it's just like an indoor. It's called Lava World or something like that. So super looking forward to that. Yeah, man, today is going to be a great day. Today's going to be a better day than yesterday. I think Tommy's going to feel the same way. Today's going to be a great day. We have to just put yesterday behind us. My therapist tells me that all the time, man. Man, what are you doing? You're tripping on it. And Tommy and I had this discussion. Well, I think we talked about it where I talked about my tattoo sign and I was tripping out on that. You just can't let things carry over to the next day. And I mean, that's why I see a therapist too, because I just struggle with that after all these years. Anyways, there's a bunch of stuff in the news today. I don't know what really matters. There was this crazy story, and not to start off with politics, I'm not talking about this about it coming from a politic view standpoint, as I'm wearing a We the People shirt. No, like they went into a bunch of federal buildings and found a bunch of just empty buildings and empty like food courts that they had made, like the big cafeterias that are all like these multi-million-dollar cafeterias that never got used. It's just so much waste, and hopefully, and who knows what this new administration is going to do, right? We'll know at the end of 4 years, and then we can give a report card of what this new administration is doing. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's check and say hi to everybody. I'm going to scroll back to the top. Lester Crochet, how you doing this morning? Thanks for coming in. Heather Rhodes, hi Heather. Shirley I, good morning. It's good to see you too. Good to see everybody. SMG Infinity. Super curious on what SMG stands for. Good morning, the wonderful Kristen Supermod. Ian Wallace. Hey, Ian, how you doing? Thanks for coming by last night and this morning. Or wait, were you there last night? I feel like Ian was there last night. David Clark. How's it going, David? Rona Cooley. Jeremy Fowler. And hey, Galen, another thing about last night, and I didn't want to say this live, there was a couple of people in there that I hadn't seen before, and I thought they were trolling me. And so because I don't know everybody yet, I don't know who's a boater, who's not a boater, and I welcome new people to come in, but they were lightweight saying some things that could have been sarcastic. And so I didn't know if they were trolling me. So that's really where my head was like I was already in a bad place, right? So in my head, I thought I was getting trolled. So I didn't want to say too much like, yeah, I'm going to be brave. I don't know. It was crazy. And I was going to ask, hey, does anyone in the chat know this person? Because I didn't want to offend that person if they might have been here at every show and I've just never seen their name. So, yeah, this YouTube stuff is tricky and finicky, but it's not complicated, right? It's not complicated. Just be authentic, be yourself. And I think, we can all have a good community because that's what we expect from you guys, right? Just be authentic, be yourself. Don't lie. Try not to exaggerate. Party talking, we're all guilty of, I call it party talking, just like, like when people come up to me, it's like, oh man, I'm going to get this tattoo from you. I got these great ideas. Couldn't wait to run into you. And then that person will walk away and I'll tell my wife, she's like, oh, cool. You should get a hold of him. No, he's been telling me that for like 4 years. Every time I run into him like 3 times a year. It's always the same conversation. Bro, man, I had this great idea for one good sleeve and one bad sleeve. We'll have like all my demons and, drug addiction over here. And then we'll have church and God and angels and my spirit guides over here. And yeah, dude, that's great, but you haven't committed, and our relationship isn't depending on, or our friendship isn't dependent on, you getting a tattoo from me. So that's not the only conversation we have to have every time I see you. So that's like party talking, kind of just, filling in the gaps with, or that's not really what I mean either. Not filling in the gaps. Anyways, where was I at? I was at Mr. Fowler and Galen. Hi, Galen. Hi, Leanne. How are you doing today? Cooler by the lake. Every time Reese says cooler by the lake, I always think she's saying cooter by the lake because that cooter is in her vocabulary. And it always cracks me up when she says it because I always hear cooter by the lake. So that always cracks me up. Leanne, blessed to crochet. Hit that like button. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please, everyone, please try to like and share this as far and wide as you can. We're really close to, I think, 800. Let me check real quick. Just real quick. This is me teching. Sam is teching. We are at 796, so we're 4 away from 800. We're only 200 away to start getting paid by views, that's the goal, right? Let's see. Okay, I can't start reading these until after I say hi to everyone. Alexina, if I said that wrong, or Alexina. I like both ways, but I'm sure you have a certain way you like to say it. Kristen, hey, John, how's it going, John? Welcome to the show, my man. Jane Aldrich. Jane, how are you doing today? Marcy, hey, Marcy. And Pam. Remember, I always think it's Pam Dauber from Mark and Mindy. Pam Pawar. I'm probably saying that. Lisa, hey, Lisa, how's it going? And I think that's everybody. So have you guys heard about the new deal with Blake Lively? I probably should wait for Tommy to drop in because like I can tell the story, show the video, show the picture, and then, you know, move on to the next story. But I haven't pulled up too much for this morning because I wanted to talk about the Diddy's lawyer a little bit more. I'm quitting, or maybe save that for tonight on the boat. It's a really long section promoting Baldoni's feminism. Link spends an entire section quoting Baldoni's TED Talks. Here, Caroline. No, you know what? There go. That's an old Blake Lively story. Good with that. Oh, I printed out a picture. Man, I looked for that picture again this morning. Remember the picture, guys, I was looking for? It's a picture of me in Hollywood, like in 1990. And everyone always says that I look physically look like Johnny Depp, but my appearance is like Johnny Depp from the 80s, Richard Grieco, and that's how we all dressed back then. So really, like we were dressing like that way before they were dressing like that, with the hairstyles, with the, you know, like the dangly hair, and so I wanted to show that picture, and I still can't find it. But what's great about that picture is that behind me is I'm in my apartment. My apartment's right off Vine, Hollywood and Vine, maybe like 2 blocks down. And behind me in my case is just like, it's like, you know, how like when you're younger and you're just, you know, you're drinking, you kind of drink all the time, and you like have a bottle of tequila, a bottle of Crown Royal, a bottle of vodka. And well, if you look in my liquor cabinet that I'm standing in front of, it's like there's bottles of all these alcohols, and there's like 4 or 5 of each one of each brand. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I would never run out. I always, if I shouldn't have known then that I was going to be a raging alcoholic, or was on my way to be an alcoholic, to where I would make sure that I was never going to run out, I don't know what is. So so that picture was, I really wanted to show that last night, but of course I couldn't find it anywhere. But yeah, to be that young and to have like just a bottle of, 4 or 5 bottles of Cuervo, 4 or 5 bottles of Crown, 4 or 5 bottles. I think there was some Stoli in that picture. Yeah, you might be an alcoholic. I live by myself, you know? Yeah, I entertained and had people come over all the time, but I basically live by myself. So I see Tommy backstage, so that's cool. Let him get settled in. Well, I'll take deep breaths. And we're going to have a great day today. Not only here on Mayhem, but just a great day in general. It's so beautiful outside here. 32 degrees with the sun out is really beautiful in Montana. It's like super beautiful. See if anyone knew. Hey, Tara, how's it going? Thanks for coming in today. We're just back up a little bit, see if I missed anyone. I know I said hi to Jeremy. I don't remember saying good morning to Katrina. Good morning, Katrina. And I might have, I just short-term memory. Let's see. John Lazone. Love Mama Bear, I missed you. Good morning, Love Mama Bear. Good morning, Amy. I don't know if I missed you or not. Oh, good morning, Nicola. How are you this morning? And did I miss that many? Ash Bash. I know I missed that. Good morning, Ash Bash. You know what it is? I think my mouse, you know how you can set your mouse to scroll either 1 line or 10 lines when you on the wheel? I think mine is set for like 5 or 6 lines, and that's why I'm missing people. Bobby Jeans. Good morning, Bobby Jeans. Mama Bear. Oh, it just always blows me away that I missed that many people. Barbara Aldrich. Did I say good morning to Barbara? Good morning, Barbara. And V. McWilliams. I know I missed V. McWilliams. Good morning, V. McWilliams. Ash Bash, good morning. And I said Katrina, I remember. If I said if I said I missed you, but I really didn't, will you just say just type in that I say good morning to you twice? That it's strictly for my own. I'm like doing like a brain health check for myself. Because if I did do it twice, like the ones that I really said, how did I miss that? David Clark, good morning. All right. There's no way I missed David Clark. Okay. All right, guys. Good morning, Sharona. Ghost Rider. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Gemini Girl. Good morning, Chicka Cherry Cola. Good morning. Whenever I see Chicka Cherry Cola, it always reminds me that, remember that old Canadian band Chilliwack? There was a great Canadian band called Chilliwack, and they were really like my favorite band for like a whole year. I think they're one of the most underrated bands of all time. Hey, good morning, Tommy.
Hey, how are you? I think you made that up. Nobody calls a band Chili Mac.
Chili Whack.
Oh, whack. Okay.
Yeah. That would have been made up. It would have been made up.
Yeah, Chili Mac definitely sounded made up. Chili Wax.
Well, they were a prog band that had a hit called "She's Been Gone, Gone, Gone." She's been gone so long. She's been gone, gone, gone so long. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the name of the band?
Chilliwack, like CHILIWACK.
If you gave me 25 million guesses of who sang that song, I would have spent the rest of my life guessing and never gotten it. I wouldn't have even been able to get one of the words in the correct sequence in that. But I know that song. Like I remember that song big
most
time.
Most people think it's Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Yeah. I don't know that I would have. I don't know that I would have guessed that it would have been Daryl Hall and John Oates. But it's one of those songs that's come on. I probably sang every word to it, but I had no clue ever. That's really weird.
Hey, do you think this
Johnny's
is
showering? I can't wait to tell him that. It's bizarre.
Do you think this is urban myth or is true that Daryl Hall and John Oates met in jail? They were both talking about what they did in their lives, and they decided to form a group. Like they were both musicians, but they just happened to be in jail at the same time, and that's how they met. Do you think that's a true story?
It is not an urban legend. Now, I don't know whether or not it was a one-night thing. I don't know what it is, but I heard one of them in an interview say the first time that we ever heard our voices together in harmony were in a prison. We're in a jail cell. And there's something ridiculous about singing in a jail cell, by the way. Like if you got somebody that can sing with you, it is actually a pretty decent little echo chamber. Every once in a while, and it's going to sound, I'm not being racist, but for whatever reason, it seems to be a black thing that every once in a while you'd get two black dudes that sounded like you'd be listening to them sing, and when they'd stop, you'd be bummed out about it. We had two dudes in the shoe that sang for like 4 hours straight, like every tune they knew, and these guys were in harmony. They were absolutely incredible. And when they stopped, people started yelling at them and stuff. Hey!
Yeah.
Screaming requests.
Yep, keep it going. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of black dudes who could harmonize in the cell. I never saw a couple of white guys that sounded decent, but I saw a bunch of black dudes do that in the shoe. But Daryl Hall and John Oates, I've heard, and I never can remember which one's which, but the blonde dude, I saw him in an interview, and the interviewer said, "Did you guys really meet in prison?" And he said, "No, we met in jail."
Right.
Or he didn't say we met, but he said the first time that they ever heard their voices together was in jail. Yeah, he had never been to prison. But he definitely
super crazy. Hold on.
Chilliwack is named after a British Columbia town where they're from. I've been to BC, and I don't remember Chilliwack. I didn't really spend a lot of time I went specifically to one place in BC. I used to go to Whistler Mountain. I wasn't really looking at anything else.
Damn it, I was going to say something else about that. And then Hazley came in. Look at her. Where is she at?
Hey!
It's Saturday, so Hazley gets to say hi.
Why are you not watching cartoons?
She goes, hello. We couldn't find the live-action Scooby-Doo this morning. Did you find it?
I do not. That was Saturday for me when I was a kid. It was religion, man. That was, see, when we
It
were
was our
kids,
time.
because your dad's really old. But when he was a kid, they didn't have this place where you could just go and get all of the cartoons you wanted. So you actually had to wait until Saturday if you had any hopes of seeing any cartoons, one day a week.
Yeah. She just said her mom had told her that's what she used to do too. I don't think so
believe
because her
that?
mom's 5 years
Wait,
old.
no, she actually told me that you couldn't actually like go onto channels. You had to keep like skipping things until it went on to the one that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful. Prior to that, I was actually the remote control.
It was awful.
It was.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was the remote control. My father would say, "Hey,
That's right.
put on channel 33." And
I'm gonna come
there
right
were
back.
two knobs.
Okay.
So the bottom knob, the top knob would go click, 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 and the bottom knob would go like super, super fast. So if you wanted to work the bottom one, which would give you access to like all the weird channels or cable access or whatever, you had to go over to you on the top, and then on the bottom you'd have to go to the specific number. But there were no remote controls. So when the TV needed to get changed, my dad would yell at me because I was the youngest one in the house. Usually something nice and friendly like Shitfoot, Channel 4. Now,
Shitfoot.
for real, he was fond of that. Now here's the thing. My dad was the most loving person in the whole world. For real. Like he never, he just was the greatest and most loving father and very, very kind, very affectionate always. But he had little pet nicknames, and that was the nickname that I got. He would say, Shitfoot, Channel 4.
My nickname growing up was Spunky.
I remember you telling me that once.
Oh, did I say? Yeah.
I remember you telling me that once. And I think at the time I said it sounds like a name that would be given to Clark Griswold by his wife in National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah.
I think she calls him Sparky, doesn't she?
Yeah, Sparky. Yep.
Yeah. Those movies were classic. Marcy says, I was the remote control too. Yeah, this is how it goes down. I was the remote control too. My mom would call me into her room, tell me something, and then ask me to change the channel. Hey, hey, Marcy, listen, I wanted to make sure that tomorrow, when you do the laundry, toss in one of those fabric sheets. And could you put on channel 13 for me while you're in here? Don't miss those sheets. No, I remember that too. Anything they could do to get you nearby so that they could change the channel. But normally I would have been on my back with my feet on the massive television set console that was in front of me, and it would keep my feet warm. You know, we lived in the really cold place, and I would stick my feet on this massive television set thing that was. There was televisions weren't. They were a very different machine back then. It took like 6 people to carry it in, and built into the same the same thing. There was a wooden top that opened, and that's where you could play your LPs. And the radio.
I think I've talked about that before.
8-track. We had 8-track in there too.
Yeah, the 8-track kind of went in like this, went in like at an angle. Yeah, we had one of those. It was a Zenith. It was huge.
Massive. Ours.
And whenever we'd have a babysitter come over, the babysitter would just play records. Yeah. Because they got high right before they got there. You just didn't know it, but they smoked a joint on the way over there. And when they got back to their friend's house, they were like, "Oh, they had a great vinyl collection, man. I just got high and got paid to. I didn't even look at the kid. Wasn't even sure there was one there. I just listened to records all night." On the phone with her boyfriend with the phone cord 25 feet long, and she'd be twisted. Twisted around. Yeah, that's so funny, dude. I specifically remember, and she was a beautiful 70s hippie girl. It would be your Hollywood casted 70s babysitter. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember her. I had a crush on her. I was 6. She was probably 15, 16, 17. And I had a crush on her. And man, and I just remember when we moved away, like leaving, knowing I wasn't going to see my babysitter anymore, really hurt my heart inside. And I didn't know what that feeling was. Yeah, craziness.
We had bunny ears on our TV, no cable. I did not see a cable television program in my own home until I was 17 years old. And we did not get cable. They said to us when we were little kids, I remember, to me, cable was this magic thing because my friends had cable. And I remember when my dad went to look into getting it, because we lived in the sticks, we honestly, on top of paying cable, we were going to have to pay to run the cable by the foot. And it was going to be 2 miles. It was going to be 10,000 feet is how far we were going to have to run it to the nearest hookup. And my father went, let's get a satellite dish. And the satellite dishes at the time used to be referred to as the Vermont State Flower, because nobody in Vermont had, the state flower of Vermont was the satellite dish. These were not small satellite dishes, folks. These were not those little numbers that you get on the side of your house that say DirecTV on it. This was a satellite dish that looked like we might be doing something on the side for NASA.
Yeah.
From one side of this parabolic nightmare to the other had to be about 15, 16 feet. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But I bet it was 8. It was absolutely massive.
Easily 8.
And my mother hated it. My mother did not want a satellite dish because it was going to be ugly on this Vermont farmhouse to have this. Mm-hmm. So instead of running 2 miles of cable up to the house, they ran about 4 football fields of cable so that they could try to hide this satellite dish behind a hill so that none of our neighbors would know we had a satellite dish. But you go from having, I had ABC, NBC, CBS, and then if I had to get up and turn to the local affiliate NBC, so it was like a little local thing, I would have to go and turn the bottom knob 150 times. Once we got this, we had 1,400 channels. You can't do that to somebody. I'm telling you.
No.
For the first probably month and a half that I had it, I didn't go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. It was just insane because there was so much crap to watch. All these things that I had heard people talk about my whole life. You know, like Morton Downey Jr.'s talk show was up and running, and that was kind of like the talk of the world, and I could watch it, and I could catch things in different feeds. All these things that never made sense to me, but I didn't have to wait specific times to see things. I could catch the East Coast or the West Coast feed or do whatever I wanted to do. And then there was these lists of these French films, and you did not need to speak a lick of French to understand what was going on in these films. Satcom 4, I believe it was called. And it was porn. And there was also no warning at all that this was coming. And I remember sitting there with like 9 people in the room, and they're all having a conversation about the satellite dish. And I'm just scrolling through like this, and I was like, turned and saw everybody, and then just kept scrolling again. I was like, oh my God, that would have been uncomfortable.
Or how about the paid corn channels, the ones that, it would be all like blurry?
That's on cable, yeah. The cable used to be like that bad.
You could kind of see some boobs or something in there, and
that's how I watched my first 3 dirty films. I watched through so much static that I'm pretty sure it was that kind of film. It also could have been Leave It to Beaver, but because we knew that channel, and it never happened. We didn't have cable in Vermont, so this was when we would go on vacation to my grandfather's place in Long Island. There was that one channel and every once in a while it would get clear for all of about 3 seconds, and you'd go, And as a kid, it would keep you there again, like a cat, you'd spend 9 hours waiting for that thing to get right again. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they would have trial, like 3-day free trials of HBO or things like that, and you'd get to watch HBO for 3 days. If you didn't already have it as a subscription, and
See that again? That was so the original satellite dishes that we had. There was none of that. So what you did was your satellite dish would actually turn. It wasn't like the ones that we have today. So you would go and pick up satellite, and it would say Satcom 4 or whatever. But once you locked on that crap, you weren't paying for anything. If there were 400 channels on that satellite, you got every one of those 400 channels on that satellite. When they started jamming those and making you pay and having a card and all that, this was a decade from there. So it really was overwhelming. It was overwhelming.
Got you. I see. Okay.
So and underneath your television set, you had a box about this big. About that wide, and that box's job was to find the satellites in space and lock onto them, and the thing always had to be set up with access. So I remember like years down the road when I went and bought the more modern version of the satellite dish, and I installed it myself. I was at the store, and the guy was like, "You can install it." I'm like, there's no way, dude. I remembered this guy installing ours, and I know it was smaller or whatever, but it took him 2 days, like, to sight it in. He's like, nah, there's even a little kit in there. He's like, you put it at 42 degrees. He's like, you keep doing it until your wife tells you the signal's at 90, and then you screw it onto your roof. Yeah. And I did, and it was like everything worked perfectly. But this was the greatest illegal con of my life that I feel no guilt for this whatsoever. But the guy that sold me the first satellite dish, right after he leaves, there was a dude at my house that we used to do some horse trading with illegal chemicals. I would give him huge sacks of grass, and he would give me opiates in pill form. But when the dude left, yeah, fair trade. When the dude left, he goes over and he goes, "Can I take the card out of my out of your, your satellite thing?" I was like, "Sure, knock yourself out." And he takes it out. He's like, "Dude, let me take this for an hour and I'll get you everything you ever wanted on that." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a thing." He had a deal on his computer and you could put the card in there and he would just take all the restrictions off of it. So he cranks this card out for me and I go home and I put it in and I get everything. Every pay-per-view movie, I get everything. Then he does it for everybody in the city, right? Mine never gets cooked. They send this thing down through the satellite and it cooks the cards and then you got to redo it again. And this dude would charge cash to redo it. And he was making a fortune. Yeah. So he calls me and he goes, "Your card's dead, man. You need me to fix it?" I'm like, "There's nothing wrong with my card." And he's like, "Yeah, there is." So these guys, no joke, they're all telling each other, "I think Tommy might be a cop." Right? I'm like, dude, you sat in my house. Like, there's piles of blow on the table this big. Like, how am I? Yeah. But because my card wouldn't get cooked, half of these dudes stopped talking to me. The dude found out, like, figured out the issue, and it had nothing to do with the card. It had something to do with the machine. And he goes, "Oh, I can do this to people's machines, and they will never get their card cooked." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "We'll charge them $100 a piece." I'm like, "We'll charge them $1,000 a piece."
Yeah,
because pay-per-views $100 back then, dude. Tyson fights were $100. I'm like, "No, dude, you're going to charge people everything in their bank account." But it was such a great hustle. I mean, for like a year, bro, and word of mouth. You know, I was trying to find people, and I got sort of frustrated. And it was a great thing in marketing, a lesson. Because I talked to all these people and then I quit and I was like, "Man, screw this." And then about 8 days later, dude, all of those people that I was out talking to and all the people that they were talking to, it got to a point where my boy couldn't keep up. You know, we would have these boxes all over the floor with Post-it notes on the top of it with people's names on the Post-it notes. And, the predecessor to Squirrel was a really great cat named Alice. And we went in and Alice had basically pulled the Post-it notes off of everybody's devices during the night. So, I mean, it was no big deal because everybody showed up. It didn't matter really if you gave them back their box or someone else's. But I had no idea who anything belonged to. All of these people. Yeah. But, my cat was great. So, had to walk over to the TV, kids with a remote often. Yeah, no question. And the original remote would only bring you down, right? It would drop you one channel at a time or bring you up one channel at a time. But it did nothing other than that in volume. And it clicked, click, click. Yeah. It's awful. What do you got there?
So I'm tattooing on this guy, right? And we're trying to get the football game, but we can't get it at my shop. But I have TVs and everything you need to watch whatever you want at the shop. And I pay all the monthly subscriptions. And he's like, "Dude, you don't have a black box?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Man, as a tip, I'm going to bring you a black box tomorrow." So he brings me this. He brings me this little box, you know, and it can plug into your router, plugs into your TV. I get every single television station around the world, every pay-per-view, every football game, every pay-per-view is free. I don't care if it's wrestling, boxing, UFC,
Netflix, anything,
any show off Netflix, any show off Hulu, any show. You don't actually have the apps, but I just type in the name of the show into the VOD, video on demand, and it'll pull it up. It'll pull up the most recent episode. It gets everything. There's nothing. You cannot stump it. People will say, "Okay, what about that movie that's some real obscure movie?" I go, "It's going to be on there." They type it in, it comes up. They sell these online.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, they sell these online for $300, but there's 2 apps that you have to download on it. I have the link for the app, so I got my friends I got every one of my friends last year one of these for Christmas, and they all are just like, bro. So like I can watch, West Coast TV, East Coast TV. I can watch Channel 4 in England, and Dogpatch Wichita. So if it's football, you just I watch Channel 5. If it's the Rams, I watch Channel 5 in Los Angeles. But they also have somewhere where you can go. It just says NFL, and it just lists all the NFL games that are on and what channels are on, or NHL or NASCAR or whatever. It's the greatest thing in the world, brother. And you don't have to. It's not like a Fire Stick that's been broken. It runs Kodi, where you have to find the right server to watch the movie. Any new release, it's on here within 4 days.
Quibs would love that. I can't watch any of this stuff. Yeah, I can't watch any of the stuff, but
no, I know.
She'll watch movies. She doesn't watch TV either, but she does. She'll watch movies.
We'll get her one.
But that's what a wild. So do you remember Crazy Eddie?
Yeah.
We got any of my New York friends in here? There was Crazy Eddie used to do commercials. I'm Crazy Eddie, and he used to sell VCRs. Was like the big thing because they were brand new back then or whatever. And he ended up going to the feds, but his commercials were so fantastic. And when he ended up getting busted, he would bootstrap, like he was selling cable to people, and every single person he sold the cable box to, he bootstrapped it. Like everybody that got cable through Crazy Eddie got everything. So he was the most popular guy in New York, and no one was ever going to call the cops on him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like even if you bought a device from him and it broke or anything bad happened, they'd just be like, "Wow, that's crazy. I'll just buy another one," because you weren't paying cable bills. Like Crazy Eddie did a lot of really crazy stuff. He really did, but he had epic commercials. They were the greatest commercials in the world. He would jump up and down and go nuts. And oh my God, did we do prank phone calls? Sadly, I did a lot of prank phone calls.
So did I.
Main Mom, that is a box that Casper was showing us that allows people to see all of the television stuff without the need of paying all of those pesky bills.
Yep. The greatest thing is free pay-per-view.
Used to be amazing. They really did. Commercials used to be amazing. But now commercials watch you, and it's a very different kind of a ball game.
Remember, we all knew all the commercial jingles.
Sadly, I still know all of the commercial jingles. That's that's what happens if you have one of those minds. Like honestly, my a whole wing of my brain is stupid television show jingles and commercial jingles. Yeah, I know all.
I only know them when they come up in conversation. Then I'll remember it. But if you were to say, what's the jingle to Lucky Charms back in well, I would know that one, but. You know what I mean? If you were to ask me, but if it comes up in conversation, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, blah, blah." I don't know.
No, when I went to college, my freshman year, we had to go to orientation, and it was just an excuse to get loaded, right? It was honestly nobody even went to any of the orientation classes or whatever, but the guys in the room next to ours started singing every television jingle that they could. Like these dudes didn't go out and party with these were probably the good kids. These guys probably right now own a crap load of stock, and they probably got like 40 Bitcoin each. But they were singing every single television show jingle that you've ever heard. And my roommate for the weekend, because it was how that works with orientation, you only get the roommate for the weekend. But he's like, "What a bunch of," and just pick whatever terrible word you could ever think of, and he dropped all of them. Right? Super insensitive, super, everything he said you'd get canceled for, and he said it for like 40 minutes. What a bunch of wimps, right? Look at these guys, blah, blah, blah. 30 minutes later, we're in there shit-faced going, "You don't know Gilligan's Island?" Right? And singing with, for real, dude. Like that entire dorm was in there singing this stuff and singing Schoolhouse Rock and all of this crap that we
Schoolhouse Rock, learned brother.
Of as kids,
Yeah, I'm just a bill on Capitol.
You know what's crazy? I have the bill. So one of the adult the sex worker that I knew back in the day that paid for her habit with smack had an apartment near one of the casinos, and I went by one morning to help her score, make a phone call so that the people could show up. And she said to me, she had to go out. She was going to be going out to turn tricks. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, good God, you just, feel bad for the woman. And as I'm talking to her, I look on the shelf, and it's like a Smurf. It's made of the same kind of material or whatever, but it's the Bill from Schoolhouse Rock. You could have got it back in the day. It's about this tall, and it's the little guy with, wrapped up, and he's got the smile, and he's got the button on that says Bill. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, where did you get that? And she said, they gave it away on Saturday morning. You had to, I'm like, this is from way back then? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you don't have to go turn tricks. I want that. I want that Bill, man. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, you can have it. It means nothing to me. She's like, seriously, it's just been kicking around. I'm like, no, I want to buy it. And she's like, you don't have to buy it. Like, just the nicest person in the world. I'm like, I'm trying to keep you from going outside. Like, I'll leave 10 sacks here, I'll give you 10 bags. I want that thing, but I still have it. It's pristine. Like I know if you rubbed on this, all of the stuff would come off. Like, you could see that any kid that played with this, it's obviously got nothing on it anymore, but no one touched this. Yeah,
that's dope.
One of my
I
prized
love
things.
stuff like that. I love stuff like that.
I do too. That's why it's so much fun when I'm in Bug Tussle. And for those of you busybodies who like to theorize that I'm not with my fiance, I should be heading to Bug Tussle in the next 2 weeks. Heading to Bug Tussle in the next 14 days.
I collect mystery machines.
Do you know what? I wish
I actually collect these.
Were here. He would tell you. My freshman year in college, I had a friend named Big Steve, and Big Steve had that right there. Like, full size. Yeah, full size.
Oh,
and I mean, it was. He said that his dad bought it. I'm like, where does this come from? Right? If you saw one in 2025, you wouldn't be really freaked out. But to see one in 1988. You know what I mean? I was like, where did this come from? Like, did Barris build this? How did you come up with a mystery machine? And he said, my dad gave it to me. I have no idea who built it, where it came from, but there was nothing about this janky. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing, everything, like the inside, it was the mystery machine. He unfortunately didn't make it through freshman year, but it was the coolest. Big Steve had the first time he pulled up you roll up on campus at the mystery machine, you're instantly the coolest person in the entire campus. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who jumps out of it, what he looks like. He was a big dude, really, really a big dude. But he was the coolest guy on campus, to be sure. That's cool. Oddly enough, this was great. I told this story on here too. My very first day up at college, I started to date a girl. We linked up almost instantly, and she had in her room, when I go to her room, she's got Scooby-Doo, 6 feet tall. She's got, all of and it's everything. Her bedspread, I'm like, holy crap, are you into cartoons?
Yeah.
Her grandfather, well, I'll do this. Her grandfather was one of the either Hanna or Barbera. I won't tell you which one because I'm not trying to out this chick. But one of her grandfathers was the one of the two people from Hanna-Barbera, and she told me that, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. But instead of continuing to date her, which might have been the smart thing, I stole Scooby. That night when I left, I took Scooby with me. So Steve, while he was still with us, drove the mystery machine, and he had a 6-foot Scooby-Doo sitting in the passenger seat. You can't not give it to him. He's got the mystery machine. As bad as I wanted to keep Scooby, he had the mystery machine.
It's either you give him that or he gives you the mystery machine.
That's what I said.
They had to be together.
When he said, man, you're not going to give me that, I was kind of hoping you were going to give me the van. You know what I mean? Not trying to be a dick, but, anybody can come up with a van. I got Scoob.
That's right.
I could put him in a Chevy. I got Scooby-Doo.
So I used to walk by Hanna-Barbera going to school when I was a kid. I'd walk right by it. They had a big long sign in the grass and said Hanna-Barbera, and we would walk right by that building on our way to school.
What amazing work, for real.
Oh I think, huge.
In 100 years or so, when they look back at history, I think that they're going to view that more in the art form that it was. Especially,
I hope so.
With the computers and everything that we do now, Disney has been selling off parts of the original stuff. You can, like, for Alice, I've got a thing where it's the original celluloid from the film. And they will sell you a section of that celluloid, and then it's got a big picture of Alice that was drawn out by them or whatever, and it tells you what part of the film it came from, and it's numbered and all of that. I bought a couple of those when they first started releasing them. But like those kind of things, they're running out. You can't, you can only sell that film once. All of those things, the original drawings and all of that have all been sort of, a lot of it is getting chunked up, and the collecting of that is one of the craziest things in the world. Like, watch people are freaks. I say this all the time. You'll never meet anybody more freaky than watch people, unless they're collecting watches that have Disney shit on them. And those people, I'm telling you, man. Like, I was at a watch show. Well, I was at an antique show, but I sell watches at them, and I had my whole table set up. And poker face, like people that have poker faces. This guy walked up to the table and picked up a watch, and it was a original woman's Mickey, and not made by Ingersoll, but one of the first runs, and I could tell instantly they didn't have it. Like, in their collection, they needed that watch, and it was because of the color of the strap. It was all brand new, it was all original, and the guy was like, the way they were freaking out with he and his wife, he didn't say, how much is this watch? The dude handed me the credit card and said, will you bill me for this? I went, okay.
Yep.
Right. That's the same cost as my car. I thought you should know that, but yes.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
$42,000. They get
so freaking excited. When the animators did, when they gave them mini Academy Awards for the Seven Dwarfs. When Walt Disney was given an award for that, they gave him an Academy Award, and then they gave him 7 small ones for the Seven Dwarfs. The people that animated on that all got Rolex watches. He did this with a bunch of different, like people that worked on the Mickey project got Rolexes that had Mickey on them. And those watches, it's kind of like the holy grail of people that collect Mickey watches. It's just it's an Oyster Perpetual date, and it's got Mickey on there. And there are Mickeys, right? There are Mickey watches out there that sell for 6 figures, grips of them. Yeah, $100,000 Mickey watches. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The people that collect those are really, really, really into it.
Yeah, man.
Anka, I think we've always been the most dangerous animal, sadly. I think we always have been. So, are we talking about Ms. Lively?
Well, we are.
We are. It's a good person.
Man, she's amazing. That's so today's big headline centers on actress Blake Lively, who has lashed out at the Hollywood Reporter. Well, I want to read that real quick. Tasmanian Devil.
Do it.
Yeah. Yep. I used to have Tasmanian tattooed there. The magazine's over the Hollywood Reporter over the magazine's artwork. They're calling it downright sexist, which features Lively in a dramatic David-and-Goliath setup, complete with her slinging a cell phone at actor Justin Baldoni, has sparked outrage. According to her spokesperson, the cover not only insults Blake, but also reinforces tired sexist tropes against women brave enough, the brave women, to file workplace complaints. Now, I feel like every woman who does file workplace complaint is brave. There's a woman in my next room. She filed a vicious complaint against her workplace, and she was awarded handsomely for it. And as well she should. I've read all the emails. I was around the time when they were really abusing. It was at a car dealership. And so I am all down for workplace complaints, but we know the backstory of everything like this, so we are not minimizing anything. But let me show the cover.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty awesome.
But I think that she had to give permission for it.
What's that?
Do you think that she had to sign off on that, or do you think that they just? Because they can put up anything that they want, right?
That's right.
Because if she knew that was coming and didn't say, "Please don't do that," then she's not the brightest.
Right.
Because this is the image that I think. I don't know. The table that we showed last week of all of those powerful women sitting at it. They were Times Person of the Year in 2017, I believe. There was an elbow in that picture. right?
Right.
The elbow is for your wife. It's for all the people whose names we're never going to hear, who are actually going to have to go and do this. This kind of stuff makes this look like, I don't know, this is a game. And her camp comes out and files papers and says, I am so mother-loving traumatized that I can't leave my house. This is killing my kids. I'm losing weight. My husband's miserable. Like the damages that she's trying to run the table and set this thing up for the pain and suffering that is worth millions of dollars. Yet at the same time as she's talking about being sexually harassed, that image we saw of her with the guy holding the martini. Do you know what it says for the ad on that? It says, my turn. The dude's legs are in the air like this, and she's holding him like a guy would if there was a guy having intercourse with a woman on the table in that position. She makes these jokes. She's constantly in your face, like the husband. We're so traumatized by this that we're going to rewrite what's going on Saturday Night Live. And by the way, neither of us are alumnus of Saturday Night Live. Neither of us really there are people that obviously guest hosted a lot. There are people that were there really, really infrequently. One of the reasons that everybody in Hollywood was so pissed off, and by the way, everyone in Hollywood is pissed off that they showed up to the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. I mean, nobody. To find a quote of people that said, wow, that was brave of them to show up, they got to quote the Real Housewives woman. That's who everybody's quoting, is the woman from the Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever. Because no one else in the world thought that was a good idea. That night was supposed to be for all of the people that like Belushi, the people that aren't with us anymore, the people that were fantastic. And to celebrate a show that for a really long time, it might be trash now, but there was a time where if you went to school, right, on Monday and you didn't watch Saturday Night Live on Saturday, there was nothing to talk about. Like you were going to be shunned to a part of the school with the people that didn't know what happened on Saturday Night Live. Instead, and keeping in mind, just a great little side note, the head writer of Saturday Night Live, right, who's an absolutely hysterical comedian, is also married to Ryan Reynolds' ex-wife.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So in theory,
I always forget that.
Yeah, imagine this is you, and your ex-husband shows up at your new husband's, he wrote this whole thing. This is his baby. It's the 50th anniversary, and it gets overshadowed by your friggin' ex-husband, showing up. Now that's all anyone is talking about. They are the most tone-deaf people in Hollywood. Got any idea what a rugged statement that is?
Yeah.
Think about it. The most tone-deaf people in Hollywood, where the dude parking your car is tone-deaf.
Yeah.
These two are the most tone-deaf people in the entire industry. It's almost wild to watch. It's like every time something new comes out, you go, there can't be anything worse, right? They're not going to do anything more cringy than what they just did. And yet they continue day after day after day to drop more cringe. Yeah, look, that episode of Saturday Night Live was so good. It's garbage now, in my opinion. But I was raised on Saturday Night Live, and I was happy with the anniversary. Even Ryan Reynolds been there because he's such a bag. You know what? Why is he there, right? Okay, you know. Here's the crazy part. The crazy part is he wrote that joke. This is no longer debatable. This is so we heard this on a talk show in Australia. It's got one of those morning talk show names like Weenie in the Butt. They have those. They always have those weird kind of.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's Fifi Fev and Nick. Fifi Fev and Nick. An Australia show live had on the cue card guy that has been working holding cue cards at Saturday Night Live for as long as there's been a Saturday Night Live. He's always been. They call him. I think his name is Larry, if I'm not mistaken. But they call him Cue Card Larry. They call him Cue Card Larry. And he was there, and he said, nope, they had to take those cards and change them. Ryan Reynolds rewrote that joke. So he thought it would be funny to go there, and when people said, how are you doing? What have you heard? Have you heard about our lies? Have you heard about what we've really been doing? Has the word come out about what we've been doing behind the scenes? I mean, that's the joke, right? Isn't that the joke? What have you heard about us? Well, what we've heard about you is you and your stinking wife have been trying to buy off the entire cast and turn them against this guy. And your wife, because she's a genius, well, there's a video of her saying she did that to Penn Begley back in the show that they did, Gossip Girl. First day he showed up, she ends up banging this guy, by the way. But the first day, but the first day that this guy shows up on the set, she doesn't like him. So she decides that she's going to get every single person on the entire set to dislike this person. You know how evil that is? I mean, if you did this at any place, if you did this at any other line of work, think about it for a second. Whatever gig you got, right? You work at a restaurant and a person gets hired and they're the new bar back and you go up to everybody in there and go, this guy Casper's a douche. Seriously, the guy gives me let's just treat this guy bad. Right? Let's just treat this dude bad. Right? Let's just trash everything he does. And we'll tell him his work sucks. And you would say to the person, what the hell's the matter with you? Like, who are you? You're gonna decide you don't like this dude as soon as you walk. But she talked about this like she was proud of it. Yeah. Take that and then meld that into the interview that she does with Moira Forbes on the Women Power Forbes deal. Where she comes on and says, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm not paraphrasing much here. I will lie if I have to. I will let them think that I'm just showing up to be an actress, but there's no way that's what I want. When I get there, I have to have more than that in a film. So if that means me taking over the wardrobe aspects of things or being far more involved in whatever, it doesn't matter, right? She wants to take over the film. And she was smart enough to say this, right, years ago. Everything that this woman has said, there is a video out. I'm sadly not going to be able to shout out the content creator because I don't remember it. But it is one of those content creators that doesn't speak. They just create videos. But there's a video out there now called Blake Lively's 15 cringiest moments, I think it's called. Or maybe it's the 10 cringiest moments or something like that. God help us. Do you want a video that's got 15 times where you did something so just foul that everyone on the planet goes, did you really just say that to this person? Or did you just force a person you've never met to pound gin at 9 o'clock in the morning for a press junket, right? Just because you're kind of a B word.
Yeah, dude.
She doesn't even drink. And she's in there, come on, no, pound it, shoot it, pound it. Man, you tell me to pound alcohol because you're rich and famous and I'm just... That would have been the end of the interview.
It's just so she can laugh with her friends and be like, look what I did. Look what I made this guy do.
Did you see her make the guy take his shirt off?
No.
Okay, you're going to see this one. It popped up about 2 or 3 days ago. Same situation. She's doing a press junket, and she says to the guy, I love your shirt. And he says, oh, thank you. Appreciate it. It's some, I don't know, like a band or whatever. It's something that they can sort of relate to. She's like, I want it. And he's like, you want my shirt? And she's like, yeah, will you take it off for me? Will you do that? She's like, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but can I have your shirt? And the dude's like, screw it, man. And the guy takes his shirt off. Now, I'm not hacking on anybody's body. I've never been that dude. But there have been times in my life where I am far more confident taking a shirt off, right? And those times tend to be where, I've been working out a little bit, right? This dude hasn't got to the working out phase of his life yet. He's not beefy. He's just, right? He took his shirt off and I'm picking the phone up going, 911? I believe someone stole this man's chest. Quickly. This is a guy that probably didn't want to be bareback for the entire world to see. But she's just, this is the entitlement, people. This is the 2025. This is what Tommy's always yelling about, right? This is really... Can you guys hear Diddy digging a tunnel? I cannot. But I've heard there is a content creator that often while talking, he's got construction that's being done around his house, and every time you hear the noise, he'll go, "It's Diddy trying to escape." As far as the Diddy thing, because we missed it yesterday, just briefly. Bottom line is this. That firing of the lawyer means jack squat, folks. Don't lose any sleep over that one, I promise you. What is this? The other one is a year and a half old. They grow super fast, and for 2 or 3 years. You obviously have a Maine Coon cat or two. Yesterday, Johnny Scoville had to take Katy Perry to the vet, so I got to see all kinds of kitties. I actually love going to the vet with a cat because it's not a vet, it's a cat hospital. So they've got a big, really cool animal that's just lives there, and he's the most social kitty cat in the world. And he's a hoss, or maybe a she, but she's a hoss. And she comes out and plays with everybody in the waiting room. And I got to see 3 Maine Coon cats. It was a pretty good time. I was having fun.
Oh, you did?
I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm a fan. I really like the Maine Coon cat. I am becoming very enamored with their personalities. They are wildly different than other cats. They really are.
Yeah.
They have very, very distinct personalities that make them. There's our guy.
Yeah, I want to watch this.
done.
I haven't seen this. If that's
Well
cool.
done. Yeah, absolutely. Well played.
Okay.
Gummy shark.
These
Are
are
you
gummy
gonna eat
sharks. Yeah, I'm gonna eat it. You
But
don't
you
have
know
to
what?
eat it. but
Can I
I'll-
tell you why I'm not gonna eat it?
Why not?
Because you shouldn't eat sharks.
You're
water.
right. Dick move.
But gummy
Dick
shark
move.
shirt off in this movie and my short, so it's only fair. This is the best thing that happened.
I'm also not
to
in
me
that great a
today.
shape. All right, so Blake,
He looks
you
kinda
give me
uncomfortable.
you give me new meaning here to what I'm bringing to an island if
Yeah.
I'm stranded.
Okay.
So what do I need? What comes with your character's action figure
not,
here for
not
survival?
Gummy fish. She's actually very prepared for
Oh, it's a Bob
for
Ross
anything
shirt.
that may come her way.
It is Bob Ross.
while she's in the ocean. So
That
I
is a
wouldn't
great
go surfing
shirt.
alone. I wouldn't go surfing at dusk. And
Um,
I probably wouldn't swim up onto the feeding grounds of a great
Yeah,
white
crazy
shark.
though.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Now, here's the thing. Full disclosure. It's any other actress in Hollywood, and it's funny. It is. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It doesn't seem entitled. It's just silly stuff. And when you've done 400, so if you ever done one of these junkets or anything like it, you don't move, right? But they just keep rifling one person after another through. And they're like, this is Casper, he's with ABC. This is Tommy, he's with CBS. This is so-and-so, they're with the Pawtucket Journal. It's like these, teeny, and they're all, and every one of them goes, how was your experience in the film? How was it working with Chevy Chase or whatever the hell? And you just go and you do the next, and it's every person asks you the same question. And after you're 4 hours into it, like they're hoping you're going to come and ask them something that they haven't heard and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I get it. And it could be cute and it's no big deal. But when you take it and you put it into a tapestry of who this person is, the fact that this person, is entitled to a point where we've seen her now humiliate a woman who can't give birth, right? Because the woman had the audacity to say, oh, I see your little baby, your little bump, or congratulations on your little bump. And she says, yeah, congratulations on yours too. That woman had just miscarried, right? And just found out she was never going to have kids. But Blake Lively, like all of these little things. By the way, that woman's killing it. She's selling shirts now too that say she's selling shirts off of that. She's got a great channel. I don't know if you've ever seen her.
I'm
She's
obsessed
awesome.
with her channel. I'm obsessed with her channel.
And the crazy thing is, one of her employees was the guy that was forced to drink the gin. Right? He works with her. I saw him
Right.
interview too, and it's like, that one offends me more than anything else. Right? You're doing this. You don't know if this guy's got issues with chemicals. You don't know any of this. And if you're in Hollywood and you're sitting down from a B+ actress who says, "Here, drink this,"
Thank you.
right? You want to go back to your boss and say to him, "Hey, listen." She was trying to get me to drink at 9:00 in the morning. I'm not a drinker. Your boss would have gone, dude, you couldn't have faked it or whatever, right? To get the interview. I sent you out here. You get nothing. So what are we running with tonight? Blake Lively's mean and tried to make you drink alcohol. You're put into a position because this person's in power, right? You would think there's some kind of a symbiosis here. You are a reporter.
Yeah.
They are an actress. The both of you need each other, yada, yada. But it's not that way. You're a peon. This person is a queen. Right? There, all of the things that, the employees and the owners of the Wayfarer Studios were not allowed to look her in the eye. That kind of entitlement is hard to wrap your brain around. Now, if you were to say,
Frozen.
I am doing a scene where, this is the heaviest scene in the film, and to get into character, I got to blank all of you out. So if I feel like, if you were to say, so for the next 25 minutes, like I can't make eye contact with any of you. No, it's going to sound weird or whatever. But for the next, maybe there's a time where you have to justify saying something like that. I don't know. I can't envision one, but I'm trying to be cool.
Yeah.
But
It just,
the time to, how about when you got a breast out, right? Or you have a pump up to your breast. If that's my girl, I want you looking her in the eye, right? Maybe don't be staring anywhere else. The eye would seem like a good spot. But while she's doing this, someone is going to give her shit for looking them in the eye. Well, next time, hon, I will check out your areola, right? I'll check out the nip the next time I'm there. Because obviously
or
that's what you want
punching.
me looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a person, and I think this is obvious to anybody involved. They went back and said, all right, what can we drum up? Well, they came in my room while I was pumping, while I was breastfeeding to both of them. Both of them? I could hear Ryan Reynolds trying to pump it up. Did he look at you? No, but he kind of like stared at my, he kept eye contact till it was creepy. Okay, yeah, we can go with that. I mean, what the hell? Honestly, because everything in this
That's
looks
exactly
like
how that conversation went down, bro.
I guarantee it. And this is why I stopped at 6 errors in this legal filing. I'm not a dude that proofreads crap, bro. I can speak, I can't write. But there are so many misspellings, or they call him Miss Baldoni. They change a date from one line to the footnote. They screw up so many times in this. And the reason they did is they got nothing. He came out and he gives all these receipts, and now they promise an amended complaint. But they got to come up with an amended complaint. And you know something? This is fascinating. Follow me on this.
Yeah.
The studio says, in no uncertain terms, we never got a sexual harassment complaint. This is Sony Studios, Sony Pictures.
Yep.
We never got well, now they're saying that there were all of these HR complaints. Do we know that they're sexual HR complaints? Maybe that's not what they are. Maybe there are other kinds of HR complaints that were filed, and they're playing this game, right?
Like I never got my W-2s.
Right, exactly.
Like yeah.
Maybe it's something as stupid as, because in one case, this is no lie, man. One of the cases we're finding out now, and it comes down to like Jamie Heath is his partner. And what it comes down to is Jamie Heath was making arrangements for, I believe it's Miss Plank. They were trying to get her a place to stay. Follow? You have to, if you are working a film, the actresses and the actors come in, all of this has to be put into place. Apparently there was something wrong with the place they arranged for her to stay. And she was not happy with the accommodations that the studio provided her. So she's talking to Jamie Heath, who is going to provide her better digs. And he's talking about how he's going to get this taken care of. I am terribly sorry. This is not good. Blah, blah, blah. He says, and you're a mother, and motherhood is so important. He keeps stressing, and he keeps talking about how, as a mother, he's never going to let her and her kid be in a place that makes them uncomfortable. This is a doctrine of their religion, right? This motherhood thing is a very big thing in the Baha'i. I'm not sure if I ever say that right, but the Baha'i religion. This is a very big deal for them, and that's what her complaint is about.
Mm-hmm.
The HR complaint she filed was because he kept talking about motherhood and the sacredness of motherhood and this and that. That's what offended her, and that's what she filed an HR complaint. If you chase that one down, it's got nothing to do with sexual stuff. So we don't know what all of these other ones are. But if they were juicy, if these things were good, they'd already be there. She says, I don't want to put these people on blast, and they're ready to come forward. Why did it take till 2 minutes before midnight? Because in my humble opinion, they were on the phone with the people that they need to say, yeah, I'll come to court. And I don't think they got anybody backing them. I don't know if you've been following this, but Taylor Swift is crabbing away from this girl at 75 miles an hour, dude. She is backing up as fast as humanly possible. She's got her press people saying, hey, you know what? We're out.
Yeah.
I said the other day that Blake Lively crap canned the person that was doing music on this. That's not correct. Taylor Swift apparently fired the person
Yep.
No joke.
I read that.
Taylor Swift
read that.
apparently is the person that ran off and said, "I'm not working with this music person." Do you know what that means? That means that the odds of Taylor Swift not getting deposed are about 1 in a billion. Because the fact that Blake Lively took over the film is the entire premise of what the Baldoni camp is saying. If you had your rock star friend coming in and going, "Get rid of him," oh, she's coming. I promise you, she's getting deposed. And if you've never been deposed, fun, forget about it. It's not like being on the stand. You're not going to have a judge that sitting there calling balls and strikes. This is very ugly and contentious. Depositions suck. They're not fun.
It sure does. And I have some. I don't want to talk about that. Well, just real quick, I'm doing a story. A documentary. It's like a 10-minute documentary. It's a mini doc about a doctor, and I have all the depositions of all his staff. And man, they are so good to watch because you can see the uncomfortableness and the subject matter is this doctor purposely falsely diagnosed all these people with cancer so he could treat them to get paid. It's insane. And there's people that are passed. And anyways, we'll be showcasing that here in the next few weeks. But I do have some cool little video if you want to check it out. Of the kissing scene where she's being really mean to Justin Baldoni. Have you seen that? Okay.
I have. Yep, I have.
God only knows what I'd be without you.
We should be talking. Ryan, go to the bar. Ryan, go to the bar.
So just for the people, she goes, I think we should be talking and not kissing. Talking is more romantic. That's what she says.
We don't shut up.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
Staring. You just stare.
Literally we've done it for 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. He's literally
Stop that for a second.
each other and
When I
time.
found a sociopath.
So at this point, in the original lawsuit, Casper, in the original lawsuit, she said in the original lawsuit that he kept breaking character during this. He kept breaking character and started talking to her about the scene and about she is the person that breaks character in the scene. And she swapped that. From the first filing to the second filing, she changed it.
Yeah.
And she changed it because we all saw it. She's a lying piece of crap. She's been caught by the world, right? Every amateur detective who has a screen has pulled this thing apart. And this is 180 degrees from what she said happened before Baldoni. Once she found out that because it's just what we were talking about. She sat around with her husband and he said, well, what about the kissing scene? Or what about the dance scene? And she said, yeah, when we were doing the dancing scene, he kept breaking character and he kept talking to me about, how we shouldn't be talking or blah, 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 blah. And then she comes out with all this BS about trying to change it. Sorry, but it's worth noting. You're
right.
This is the exact opposite. Right.
I just got it because she said he kept trying to kiss her, breaking character, or I just had it clear in my head, but really it was her, and she was like, yeah, let's just talk and let's that's more romantic. And then when he leans his head in, she's like, oh, I feel so nosy, making comments about his nose. And that he should go, I have it right here, that he should go have a nose job. She says it right here.
No, we're like, oh my God, there's not enough time.
And they score again.
I feel so nosy.
I know.
Noses.
And my nose is so big.
Yes. I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that. And then,
she says we should just shut down the shoot and call an insurance month, and you go get a nose job and come back, and we'll film the scene. That
the
is
classic.
true.
Yeah, she's just a mean person. But when you watch this thing, like when you watch the whole outtake, you're going to hear what you normally hear on a set. Like Casper will be the first to tell you, you don't hear cut a lot, right? All of the stuff that you see in movies tends not to happen. They don't yell action. Sometimes they do. A lot of directors don't. But if you watch this, you'll hear them stop, but they don't stop. You'll hear them restart, but they knew what was going on. So they were running this camera. When he said stop, he had already told them, don't take the camera off, because he knew what she was doing. And in the first filing, she said the reason that there was a problem in this scene is because he continually broke character. And that's not what happened. It is the exact opposite of what happened. Once she got caught, and this is the purpose, by the way. All of the other window dressing, the amended complaint was to clean up all of the lies that she told in the first complaint. No matter what, the rest of it's BS. Oh, well, there's these other women out there. No, you needed to get in there and change this, because the world's going to see it. And they're going to see that it was you breaking character, not Justin Baldoni. Now, she can't take those words back. They're all out there for the world to hear, right? If we weren't all sleuths, if everybody wasn't keeping their eye on it, right? But we in this entire deal, the timeline that has been given by Baldoni's attorney, that timeline was put together by a YouTuber, right? Everything was done by Candace Owens. And he, in an interview, he said, our case has been bolstered by YouTubers in ways you wouldn't believe. He's been the first to say there are housewives and, stay-at-home sleuths who have pulled out so much stuff that they are using against this woman. And this is the future. This is why people aren't going to get away with this stuff anymore, because A-listers and B-listers and C-listers, they got a lot of stuff out there to look for. There's a lot of clips of film of people hanging themselves. They're saying something today that 5 years from now, they're going to regret that they said on film. Yeah. And it's just like the Diddy case, right? When you see him on a talk show and he says, yeah, if you're going to have a party, you got to have a lot of booze, you got to have a lot of alcohol, you got to have locks on the doors, right? Okay, if he said that in 2025, the reaction in that audience, because people did give him crap, even the host was like, yeah, it starts to sound a little creepy. What do you think the host would have said today?
Oh,
you
man.
Friggin' psycho R-word.
Yeah.
Because we look through the lens of 2025. We know who Blake Lively is. And once you know who the person is, you can go back and start looking at clips. It's like that scene in Step Brothers. Yeah, now the tuxedos seem kind of effed up, right? You get to a point where you look back and you go, yeah, some of these clips, they don't look so funny anymore. Like the guy taking off the T-shirt. I was saying earlier, what's the big difference, right? Who cares if the guy takes off a T-shirt? He's a man. But when you look back on it, and you've already seen her shove booze down someone's throat, and you've already seen her show up at the Saturday Night Live thing. You remember how everybody said when that first broke, she looked shocked and she looked angry, and we all said, of course not. This thing was scripted 7 months ago. It wasn't. That cue card got changed that day, and I wonder if she knew. She knew her husband was standing up. That's to be sure. But that line, why? What have you heard? That is complete Ryan Reynolds. It's complete. It's not an ad lib because he approved it. They put it onto the cue card. But Amy Poehler and Tina Fey did not look comfortable. I don't think. Nope. I think everybody in that room wanted those people gone, and I'm so glad he did that. I really am. The world. It cost him $150 million. I'll put cash on that. There's no way when it's all said and done that this guy's career. He had his contract for the franchises with Deadpool, $150 million apparently. Can you imagine doing something to blow $150 million, man?
Dude.
Can you imagine? God,
dude, I'd gap out if I blow something to lose views on a video. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
The inability, the inability. This is got to be the most frightening time for these people, and they brought it on themselves, right? They brought this to their doorstep, and that's why the whole I am enjoying this, and I'm sorry, right? If that makes me a bad person, okay. But no, James Collins, I got your address today, or I got it last night, but I saw it this morning, and I am sending it over to Casper as soon as the show's over. Just I saw it right before we went live, so I got that for you.
I am Casper.
This is
Hey,
Kate,
Cole.
Allison Metcalf Palumbo. This is what I was talking about when they made all of those women.
Yes.
Person
This is
of
what
the
it's all
year.
about, for real.
That elbow that's on the table that you can't see the body attached to, it cheapens the situations for people who are actually survivors of SA, and it causes men. Let's keep it real. It probably causes women too, but it most assuredly causes men to go, maybe that didn't happen, right? Maybe this is another Blake Lively. Maybe this is another, because normally what you would think as a intelligent human being, no woman is going to do this. No woman is going to come out and say that a guy is a sexual predator if he's not. Like, we all want to believe that, because in order for the society to run correctly, we have to take your word for it. So when people like Blake Lively, in its nature, right, by its nature, SA is not something that normally has 30 witnesses. Diddy is an exception to the rule because he is so satanic, or whatever you want to call him. He is so effing
Satanic
evil
is good.
that this is the kind of guy that there are going to be people that witnesses SAs. But normally, it is going to end up, whether it's SA or whether it is SH, it's going to be, more often than not, he said, she said. Allison Metcalf Palumbo nails this. It really becomes a dangerous thing when we start going, maybe we don't start off by believing him. Well, that's a shit show right there. That's been the previous 100 years, right?
Yeah.
And then we got to a point where, as a society, we said, we're going to stand with women and we're going to believe them. They need to prosecute people who do this. Or maybe this public shaming is going to be enough to keep famous people from doing this in the future, because I promise you, we have not even begun to plumb the depths of what is going to happen to these people's career. I promise. Like, this is affecting them in ways that I don't know any other scandal in my lifetime that has. We've caught them red-handed being Hollywood. We've caught them red-handed hiring PR firms and hiring attorneys and being willing to blow any amount of money in the world. And then pulling together your team. Right? One person, we're going to get a movie role. One person, we're going to get a job. Get a contract at William Morris. Right? The second male lead now has a gig at William Morris. You don't think that was a gift? At the same time, they're firing Baldoni, who's got way better prospects. They're getting rid of this dude. Well, they had to fire Baldoni because he's a predator, like Diddy. Right? Yeah. Diddy hasn't been let go from William Morris. That gives you an idea of just how foul them getting rid of. They're not going to get rid of Diddy because it hasn't been proven. But all it had to do was for Ryan Reynolds, and allegedly 3 times.
Yeah.
First time he talked to him about it, Ari didn't do it. Second time, Ari didn't do it. This is what is alleged. But the third time, he went and politicked to have Ari get rid of him. He did. So when Ari did the Baldoni, what is it? Baldoni. Why would I don't know who this is. You don't? You spent a lot of time talking about him with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, trust me, you know who we're talking about.
Yeah. Can I say this real quick?
Please.
Go ahead.
No, go.
To the victims out there who are to the people that are advocates for the victims out there that aren't saying anything about their SH or SA because that's what people are going to start saying and have been saying, Baldoni's ruining it for the real victims that have a voice. I say to them, if it's true, say it. Don't be afraid of, because you can see that this was not true, or that most of it isn't true, and we'll find out in the very end, right, when it all gets litigated. But I feel like when we have a voice to say all this is not true, we still need to encourage the victims that think they don't have a voice now because of this. No, you do. If it's true, and you don't, and I'm not necessarily saying you have to have a bunch of proof. Just if it's true, report it, say something. Don't let someone get away with it.
63% of people who are S8 or R-worded will go to the grave not having told anyone. That is the statistic. And that is based not on society. as much as, you know, the shame that somehow is built into that crime is something that I think it's going to take hundreds of years, because we've got thousands of years of evolution that has somehow made the people who endure that feel shame. And we do have to get better. We do have to and unfortunately, yeah, this is a hit. But I hope, honestly, I hope that that you're right. I hope that this doesn't do damage. If don't just, you know, anytime anybody does anything, silence will kill you. It will.
Yeah.
I mean, suffering in silence, whether it be the number of people that I have worked with since I started the lifeboat, whose chemical problems can be traced to the fact that there is something like this in their past. It's horrific. So often people that survive this kind of abuse become addicted to drugs because the chemicals will take away the feeling of feeling inadequacy, or feeling guilty, or feeling any of those things that you end up having to endure.
A lot of those Nickelodeon victims from Nickelodeon didn't say anything and turned to drugs and alcohol, and it's super sad. It's one day we should cover that story.
How long have we been saying? For how long have we been talking about child actors and the plague that goes along with child acting? Sadly, I think that we chalk it up to fame, right? That's what we do every time. We chalk, well, you know what? They got too much fame and too much money. And when you get too much fame and money when you're a kid, that's what causes you to crash and burn. And what you don't realize is the kid was being sodomized, you know, for 5 years by adults, or the kid was, you know, performing on and off stage so that they were able to keep getting paychecks for mom and dad. The stories, I did a story on the Nickelodeon thing last year. I did a couple of stories on it. And, you know, these are parents that show up with their kids, and they hear the staff at Nickelodeon go, yeah, we've got an open bar, and there's food and everything for the parents, and the kids are being taken. There's a pool. We're going off, and they're going to do a photo shoot. How do you get to the place as a parent where you go, I'm going to go get shit-faced, go take my 13-year-old for a photo shoot?
Yeah.
Because the day that you brought that kid in the first time, that's not the parent you were, right? The day that you brought that kid the first time, when they said, we're putting your kid in a bathing suit and separating her, and you're going to go get some drinks, you'd have gone, F what? No. Trust and believe that's not what's happening. I'm going to the pool party with you idiots to watch and make sure nothing happens to my kid.
That's right.
But all of those kids, I mean, when you see these child stars tattooing their faces, right? Amanda Bynes, I want to cry every time I see Amanda Bynes. Every single time I see the girl, I want to cry. What they've been able to do to all of these kids. And you know, I've said it 100 times. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I don't know how much of of Nickelodeon that you watched, but all of the stuff that this pervert was putting out, without exaggeration, about 20 to 30% of every show ended with a money shot. It ended with a prepubescent girl having something explode in her face, whether it was a soda or a pen or a bottle of chocolate syrup or shaving cream, but it was constant. And the other thing was feet. Like it's a feet fetish thing for sick, you know, twisted old men.
Yeah.
When I started to do the deep dive, the amount of time he spent filming kids' feet being put in, you know, oils, or being put in, like, he just kept writing into the script things about people's feet, little girls' feet and their faces.
Yeah.
You know,
how does he make that work into the storyline? I don't understand.
How do you change the Nickelodeon? How do you change the Nickelodeon emblem to a foot and not have the people at Nickelodeon go, wait, what? Well, it didn't matter, you see, because he was delivering one hit after another. And we have found R. Kelly was proof, right? I think this term was coined by JAG, but they're corporate sponsored weirdos, right? PDF files.
Yeah.
That's what these people are. The corporations will keep it going.
So that guy, Dan Snyder, he I only knew him from Head of the Class. He was in a show back in the day called Head of the Class.
Correct.
With the guy who played Johnny Fever on WKRP was the teacher. And I don't remember I just don't remember any of those Nickelodeon shows, and I sure don't I never watched them. I mean, I have daughters, you know, I have 4 daughters, and I know they all
was one of the big ones, and then there was a lot of spin-offs of shows that, but I mean, we look at we look at what's his name, Brown, Orlando Brown, right?
Yeah.
Another person who, when we see him and Orlando Brown does interviews, half of them, and this is a guy that by all accounts is brutally intelligent. Seriously, the people that know Orlando say he is a wildly intelligent guy, but he does interviews that lead you to believe that he's either suffering from schizophrenia or there's some serious mental illness going on. And sadly, a lot of the people that platform him play into it. And you know, this is I feel so horrific for all of those kids, but they were all being allegedly. A lot of these kids were passed around. Dan Snyder became the director, right? Obviously for these shows, but he was bringing kids home with him, literally. You know, he had kids that would go and stay with him, and you know, there are so many images. I spent weeks deep diving this, and the number of images with little girls sitting on this guy's lap, and little girls, you know, giving this guy a back rub, and you know, he's a creepy piece of crap. And the allegations that came out of abortions and all kinds of stuff, how that guy walks the street, right? Why he's not doing really uncomfortable time in a prison right now is beyond me. It really is. And just know Hollywood, right? Just bet this. We look away and this dude's going to be directing something. They're going to bring him back because they will look the other way. They don't care. It doesn't come down to whether or not kids are safe. It comes down to whether or not you can sell advertising. Yeah. And he was king. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yep. To back up so I don't forget my thought, everyone knows I have daughters, and my oldest daughter, so she has the father of my oldest grandson is this guy, and his family owns a huge movie production company in Hollywood. And great people. But so I never knew. So he kept contacting me, asking me how my grandson was doing, and I didn't think anything of it because I knew they had gotten a divorce. But he was contacting me, and so one day I just told my daughter, I was like, "Yeah, old boy's doing good," and she's like, "What? You've talked to him?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, she got mad at me. She's not talking to me this day. My oldest daughter. And she says it has nothing to do with that. She's just doing her, and she just wants to, you know, we have a history. You know, I went to prison when she was young. Anyways, she's like, "Dad, you can't talk to him. He beat me and he did these things to me." And I'm like, I'm just now finding out about it. Right. So now I want to go unalive the guy, you know, but he was using me as an end to her and my grandson. And this is all pretty recent, within like the last year. So I was just like, "Babe, you should have told me that." So now, you know, all my daughters, I'm just like, you know, "Hey, if there's anything you ever want to talk to me about," and, you know, they're afraid to talk to me about it because they think I'm going to react poorly. And really, I just want to be there for them in some way. And they're afraid of how I'll react. And it really bums me out. It really bums me out.
Alexina, hear that? Not your fault. This is something, and I, you know, because you put it in the chat, I would never ever, but, you know, she said that her sister had been, you know, and she never shared the fact that her sister had been assaulted. It's not your fault, right? And this is one of the reasons things don't get reported. You understand that as kids, the people that do this are professionals. That's a terrible thing to say, but the people who are PDF files and the people that assault kids and do this are professionals at it. If they're not, they're in prison. The guys that aren't good at this get caught very, very quickly. And the ones that continue to do it will victimize people their entire lives. And one of the things that they learn very early on is that they can scare kids, right? They can scare kids. And that fear that they will instill in a child that has been victimized will last forever. It's something that these sick bastards get down to a science. It's why they're able to continually do the things that they do. But it isn't your fault. And that's something that, get a pen and a piece of paper and begin to write. And this may sound like Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live, but I lived a pretty horrific life and did a lot of stuff that I'm really, really unproud of. And I had to stand in front of a mirror and tell myself I wasn't a piece of shit for about 2 years. Every single morning getting up and saying, you are not a piece of shit. You're a good human being. this is not your fault would be something that I'd get very good at saying, and I would say it to a mirror looking at myself, because you need to hear that, and you need to hear it from you. Everybody here can say that to you 1,000 times, but I promise you, you're going to need to start saying it to yourself, and you're going to have to do it again and again. Do it when you brush your teeth in the morning. Spend 30 seconds just going, you know what? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. With all due respect, what were you going to do? Honestly. At that age, adults, right? They are the bosses. It's what we learn as a kid. If someone says, stop that, what do? Right? You stop that. From the time that we're born, right? We learn that we respect our adults. We listen to them. It's so ingrained in us that it allows the sick and the twisted to ensure that 63% of people are never going to talk about it. That's a number that if in our lifetime, right? If we could get it to maybe 50%, right? What a legacy that would be, right? If we were the generation that were able to get it so that at least half of the people felt confident and comfortable enough to come forward. In a perfect world, probably will not be when we're around, but in a perfect world, they're going to get to a point where this can never happen, because the technology is getting to the point where I think it's just going to get harder and harder to get away with this. But for right now, the technology is actually making it easier. You know, it's I've done shows on this as well, but these people don't have to sit out in front of your house. They don't have to catch your kid in town. They can go into they can go right into your kids' rooms these days. It's a frightening time to live in. But I would really get on the doing the Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, dog on it, and people like me.
Yeah.
Because those daily affirmations work. They may feel weird in the beginning,
They work
but I
so
promise you
good,
they
man.
work. Don't they?
They work so good. Yeah. And it's hard to get started, but once you do it, you just look forward to it. And I look forward to my morning prayer, my morning everything. And it's like I shared yesterday, I think that everyone around me is saying, Sam, you look so much happier, man. You look, and it's because of this community and because of the things that I do. I wasn't doing that for a long time. And once we started this again, and you have mentioned it a few times, I started doing it again. And it's just, the mind is so powerful and to what it can heal inside us. And it just, we can heal ourselves mentally. It's just an amazing thing. I know it's not very articulate right now, but
I think you pretty much nailed that. Yeah, you know what? And if you're not comfortable
I don't know
talking
what's
about
going
it out
on in
loud,
the
don't.
chat.
But yeah, and Alexina, if you're comfortable talking about it, you know what? There's a lot of people, and I would recommend this wholeheartedly. And I'm not. This pays nothing, by the way. But head on over to Facebook. It's a private group. It's called the Lifeboat. And it's where people can sort of exchange the ability to share PMs, and now you can start to talk to people who have survived the same thing. The gold standard for treatment of any kind is group therapy, and there's a reason for that. If you're coming back from war, they don't put you in a room with a bunch of psychiatrists. They put you in a room with a bunch of people who also just came back from war. Because we as human beings, we have this thing where we believe we're the only person in history that has ever survived what we're surviving. Our case is so unique. Our case is so different. Even as when I was a junkie, I'd say, I'm not like these other people. I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll never forget, Q brought me over to a guy and said, hey, I want you to meet a friend of mine. It's a really old guy, and he's got the nastiest scar you've ever seen in his life. It's so friggin' heinous. I said, dude, I'm sorry, what? Did you get cut? And he said, no, that's from shooting dope. Right? This dude's neck, you've never seen anything like it. But I said, you know, we started to talk or whatever, and finally Q says to him, tell him how much dope you were doing. Dude was doing 12 grams of smack a day.
oh,
He sold it, and he was doing 12 a day. I said, for how long? He goes, 46 years, until the cops kicked his door in. And he went from a 12 gram a day habit to nothing. But I swear to you, as silly and stupid as this sounds, right? I found someone who had done more smack than me on a daily basis and got sober. And all of a sudden, it was possible. Like, for real. As crazy as it sounds, this dude did more dope than I did, and he was standing here talking to me, and he wasn't strung out. Like, this is a possibility. This could actually happen. And it changed everything. But if
Wow.
you don't ever find yourself around other people that have done the same things and survived them, then you'll just keep thinking that what you're going through is so unique to you that it
Man.
simply can't be fixed. You know,
That is
Group
that is
therapy
amazing,
works.
Tommy. Yeah, that is exactly how that works. That's a great story. When I was in treatment, when I OD'd in at Phoenix House, I was standing up because you have to stand up and every morning and you say what you're in for, in the treatment for. And I was always like, I was doing 5 grams a day, and it was probably more than that, but it was around 5 grams a day, and everyone else there, they were like street junkies, and so they were like doing like a gram or 2 a day, and
Right. 6 bags, 7 bags, whatever.
yeah, and I was like going, I'm never going to get clean, but I eventually did, because I did OD, and it scared me shitless, and but you're right. I'm sure to those guys, watching me get clean was probably pretty powerful for them. They're like, man, because they were hopeless. We were all in there hopeless, all newly sober, and going through the not being able to sleep in treatment, and they're trying to give us Seroquel to sleep. It was a vicious thing, but man, that's the perfect example of how that works, Tommy. It's an amazing thing.
Well,
And it works with other.
everything. Everything.
Yeah.
No, the reason that, and it's hardest for people that have survived the R word.
Yeah.
I promise you, of all of the group therapies, the most difficult one to be around or to have anything to do with is people that have survived that. But the catharsis that happens when you get five or 10 people that survive that in the same room, and they begin to open up and hug one another, and they realize that everybody in that room is still living, right? And there will always be people in a group of 10. There'll be 2 people in that room that aren't living. There'll be 2 people in that room that are still struggling with this and still feel like they're the only people. But you see smiles, and you see and hear laughter. And it's not canned bullshit. It's not people putting it on, and all of a sudden you go, oh my God, they're living. Like, these people are living. And,
Yeah.
To keep it real, the other thing that a lot of us struggle with is elitism. And it's human nature. I was the smartest junkie on earth. I knew this. There was never anybody that had ever done dope smarter than me. And the first couple of times I met people who had done dope that were 40 times smarter than me, it was also one of those epic changes. Because I looked at other junkies like, well, they're dumb. You know what I mean? These guys are out doing this, this, and this. I at least went, I'm just going to go take a bank out. Now, that's the dumbest thing in the world. But at the time, right, I'm literally going, I'm way smarter than these guys. I'm buying it a kilo at a time.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are out waiting in a parking lot, which I started. But you evolve, right? And I kept thinking, I'm different. I'm not like these people. I'm different than these people. That's why I don't go to AA. I'm different. I'm not going to go to NA. I'm different. I'm not like the people in there. And when you find out that you are exactly like the people in there, it's really a humbling experience, But it's the start. It is the start of healing, because when you realize you're not different than the guy that walks out and gets into a car he bought 4 weeks ago, right? And guaranteed his clothes are new, and this guy's got on brand new shoes, and obviously he's living his life. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy that got out. He is successfully living. He's laughing. He's smiling. If this cat can do it, I can do it. And then you get to a point, I promise, you do it long enough, you go, I can do it better than him. I'm sorry. If this guy can laugh and live this life, I can do better than him.
That's right. Yeah.
For real. The same thing happened with meetings. I sat around with meetings and I thought, you know what? I haven't listened to anybody talk yet that made me want to stay in the room. Sounds arrogant as shit, but I'm a public speaker. So this is and then I remember getting into a room. I've told this story a million times, but a guy got up. I was talking to kids, and this dude got up and he told the story. He said, I got out of prison and I didn't have anybody to pick me up, nothing. He said, so when I got dropped off in the center of town with $20, which is what they gave him at the gate for his gate money, he went to NA because he didn't know anywhere else to go. I'm sorry, AA, because his substance of choice was alcohol. He went to an AA meeting. He said, and I just started cleaning ashtrays, man. He's like, I'm cleaning ashtrays.
Yeah.
This dude slung back, by the way. This dude is covered in ink from his head to his toes. And he said, I started to clean ashtrays. I started to make cups of coffee. He goes, and at the end of the night, when it came time for them to shut it down, He said he was going to the back to try to find a place to lay down where he said, because when they opened the next day, he was going to be there because he just didn't want to drink. And a white dude on the way out said to him, "Yo, bro, you wanna come home and have a place to sleep?" Old white dude. He's like, "You can sleep in my garage. It ain't much of a setup." He's like, "But I'll get the corner set up for you." And the dude was like, "Yeah, knock yourself out." This dude ends up introducing him to his partner. And his partner says to him, "I got a place you can stay, bro." He said, "I did a little time." His partner takes the dude under his wing, gives him a place to stay, blah, blah, blah. He ends up working for this guy for like 4 years. And he's going and doing AA, and he's doing the meetings. And he ends up really close with the guy's family. He's working as a carpenter. And he leaves. And with one of the other employees, they quit to start their own company. And it goes tits up in about 4 days. The guy that talked him into quitting starts doing dope and all that. And he went back to an AA meeting, and he ran into the guy that he was working for. And the guy goes, "It didn't work out?" He said, "No, it didn't." He goes, "You want to come back to work?" Didn't give him any shit. He said it was just unbelievable, right? So
because
as he's telling the story,
what we do. Yeah.
He says to him one day, he goes, "I think it's time you get out of the garage, brother." And he goes, "Am I doing something to piss you off, man?" He goes, "Well, you've been living in my garage for years." He's like, "Look, man, let's go get a house." He's like, "I know what you make for a living. You can afford a house." He's like, I'll put down as a cosign on it. And he's telling the story to all these kids. He's like, "And I got a Harley Davidson now." He's like, "I got, this business." He said, "I have my own home." He said, "I got pets." And he said, and the dude, he said, his daughter was getting married the following weekend. He said, "And I'm walking her down the aisle with her dad. It's fucking killing me." And he said, "And the only thing the guy has ever asked from me is," he said, "he wants this off my neck." He said, "And I don't know if you can still see it. It's a Swazi, and it's faded to hell." And he goes, "We're trying to get it off by the next weekend or 2 weekends away," because he didn't want to walk down the aisle with it. And one of the guys raises his hand and he goes, "Why does he want the Swazi?" And he goes, "Oh, he's black. Did I not say that?"
Oh, wow.
And holy shit, bro! Like every single person, and I'm standing here like this.
Yeah,
right?
That's amazing.
And by the way, he's not a speaker. Like his diction sucked all of it. But the story, dude. So he gets to the end of this, right? And I shakes hands, and I'm supposed to go up next and talk to these dudes. I'm like, what the hell am I going to say? Like, it's the hardest show to follow up in the history of speaking. Like, I didn't want to talk. I wanted to go up and go, "Did you see that? You little black and white haters. Did you catch that? You little shit."
Yeah.
This was at a juvie hall in Nevada.
Yeah.
But just the way he said it, he didn't do it for effect. He forgot it. Like to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, he's black." It was just an aside note from this big Nazi. And you see a lot of people talk a lot about the hate in prison. And the truth of the matter is, man, it isn't. I don't know how to explain it. It isn't hate in the sense that we see it out here. It's division. It's division. And there are some people that really buy into it. But there's a lot of people like, "Look, man, I don't hate anybody, but you follow the rules, right? Like Q and I would walk like this, right? And then meet in the, because if the two of us walk down together, we're going to cause all kinds of problems, man. And when I moved into the Unicorn block, I'm in there with him and we're sitting there and we're doing stuff. And I reach into a bag of chips and grab a bag of chip and he'd go, "Oh man, don't do that shit, dude. Like put up the shit curtain if you're going to eat out of the same bowl as me. Like I ain't tripping about it, but my people are going to freak out if they see you eating out of the, that's the world that you live in there." But to hear this guy say that, it was one of the greatest speeches I ever saw in my life. It took the wind out of me. It really did.
Yeah, that's
just
amazing.
How casually he said it. But again, right, all of this stuff happens in group. You're not gonna heal. You're just not. You're not gonna heal if you're not sharing. When I didn't coin this, people, I don't come up with anything. I promise. But the opposite of addiction being connection is they leave it at that. And I promise you, don't leave it at addiction. I don't care what's going on in your life. If you're suffering in silence because you're having a struggle with overeating and it's a weight issue, or whether you're gambling or whether you're snorting or smoking or whatever the hell you're doing, it literally doesn't matter. It's the reason we called it the lifeboat, right? Because everybody was in the same boat. It doesn't matter what your substance is or if you're addicted to this. Your brain is kicking you dopamine. Whatever you're doing to get your brain to kick you the dopamine, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's all the same. Whether you're and I know people go nuts when I say that, but if you actually research it, if you do the science part of this, and you look on if you do it PET scan style, you can't tell me whether it's blow, right? Whether the guy just did a bump, or whether or not the person just got a bunch of likes, or his post just got 600,000 views. It's going to do the exact same thing in the brain.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what's causing
my
it.
my wife every morning is does her Facebook Reels thing, and she'll be crying or she'll be laughing every morning. And yesterday, it was just yesterday, I come out from the show and the whole house is clean, and it was during her real time, right, on her day off. And I was like, and she's like, yeah, the Facebook Reels wasn't doing it for me, so I just cleaned the house. I mean, she literally will say that it just wasn't doing what it normally does. And that's what you were just talking about. It's like releasing that dopamine. And so she,
it's the same thing, one way or the other, right? Now, if you get, and as addicts, we have a malfunctioning reward center. So our brain rewards us with chemicals at times it shouldn't. So you buy a bag of dope, and before you even get high on it, your brain is getting you high because you did the right thing buying that bag of dope, right? Yeah. The regular reward center of a brain would go, what are you doing, right? Logic starts to kick in, and they're like, this is a mistake. Don't do this dope, right? Why are you doing this? But as a drug addict, all of the negative behaviors that we do are reinforced with chemicals that tell us we're making the greatest thing that we've ever done. And T-Frog says, Alexina Phillips, the embarrassment is not yours to carry. It's the abusers. We have the smartest audience on all of YouTube. I'm not pandering. Yeah. This is a fact. Because this gets lost. We carry around guilt, or we carry around shame. It doesn't belong to us. Honestly, we have no right carrying it. It's that shame and that guilt and that embarrassment belongs to a scumbag that's willing to touch somebody that is underage. Doesn't belong to you. You did nothing in this that brought any of this to you, right? The person that did that, and we do it, right? The craziest shit too. If you spend 30 years addicted to dope, then you leave your kids. You go to prison, and you the guilt of watching your kids grow up, in the mail, is something that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life. And we talk about how the big piece of glass in the front is big for a reason, right? And then the little rearview mirror is a lot smaller. You notice we don't say yank that rearview mirror off.
Yeah.
Right? You could just look forward and forget about all of that shit, right? And then life would even be better. It would not. I promise.
Yeah.
We have to have that little thing so that we occasionally glance up and we remember the wrecks that we showed behind us. You don't have to keep going. You don't have to.
Amazing.
But it's nice to look in the rearview mirror every once in a while and see the crashes that we caused along the way. For real. It's why I'm here every morning. It's why he's here every morning. It's the reminder. And we don't live in that rearview mirror, but trust and believe we're not going to forget it either.
That's amazing. Yeah, good stuff, man. I'm gonna add that to I do a talk on integrity and shame and guilt and how. Anyway, I'm gonna add that what we were just talking about, what T-Frog said to my talk, man. So I can't forget that, because that is amazing.
That's right. They're survivors.
What else? Man, there's a lot going on in our chat. I'm gonna have to really read all of that.
Well, that's me
amazing
too.
Stuff.
Yeah, drugs were always my BFF, and there's a reason for that, right? So the person that finds themselves drawn to chemicals because those chemicals make you feel comfortable in your own skin. And when you're not on those chemicals, then you do not feel comfortable in your own skin. And this is the problem with all drug addicts, right? We find ourselves not feeling normal, and we look at other people and we assume that those people feel normal. The only time I feel normal is when I do heroin. And that was me for 30 years. And the belief that I could feel normal without that chemical took 4 years of sobriety. I was sober for 4 years. Recovery was not going well in any way, but I was getting through. I was white knuckling it, and I was getting through. And then I started to realize that recovery is a verb, and that it's not just a matter of not doing drugs. Not doing drugs is chemical free. It's sober, but it's the recovery part of this is to say, okay, why did I do this for 30 years? You know, there had to be a reason that I was shoving needles in my arms and robbing banks. And then you have to start peeling that onion back. So you start doing journaling, and you find, most of us will find something in our past where we did this. And what happened at that point right there, once addressed, right? Once you take the time to talk to people about that and connect and work, you get to a point where one day you wake up and you go, holy shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I feel normal. Now, I have really bad days and I curse and I throw shit, and I have, fantastic days. The sobriety doesn't mean that life gets perfect. And it's the biggest fallacy, unfortunately, right? Because when you're a junkie or you're an alcoholic and you spend 20 years going, if I could just put down this bottle, everything in life would be perfect. And then something happens and you actually put the bottle down and nothing in life is perfect. Right? You still have bills, and you still have people that are pissed off at you, and you still have to make a living, and you still got to pay the rent, and all of these things that are part of life. It's like, wait a second, I put the bottle down. Why isn't things, things ought to be great.
Yeah.
But you can get to a point, I promise, where every bit of it, the reward center of my brain rewards me when I do a good show. I don't have to buy a bag of dope. The reward center of my brain, no lie, like this is going to sound, but it is what it is. Alexina writes, I've never shared this with anyone, and it's like the plunger hitting the bottom of a syringe. I'm not kidding you. I don't do this for the cash. And if you think I do, go watch the first 2.5 years of the lifeboat. Right?
Yeah.
I was going tits up for a real long time doing this. I do this because of how it makes me feel. And that is a malfunctioning reward center that has begun to function properly. And you do it in the smallest ways possible. You get up in the morning and you make your friggin' bed. And that little act of saying that's the first goal of the day, I set it and I finished it, may not happen the first day, might not happen the second, but there's going to be a day where you smooth that shit out. All of a sudden you go, the hell was that? Like, honestly, you'll feel it. You get this, you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
I knocked that shit out, man.
Yeah.
As an addict, I got to go like that and go, there's my cornerstone. Silly as shit, right? That's my cornerstone, making that bed in the morning, because the junkie didn't once. 30 years of doing dope, I never made my bed once. Ever. Right? Ever. Like, if I was in prison, I would smooth the top one over so that the guards wouldn't give me shit. But I'm not going to do anything. So Q used to say to me, simple rule. If you're getting ready to do something, ask yourself, did I do this as a junkie? Right? If the answer is yes, don't do it. Don't do it. And if the answer is no, sure as shit, do it. Guaranteed. If you say, I never did this as a junkie, go ahead and do it. Making my bed, telling the truth, doing my laundry, folding stuff, hanging stuff up. And if it's so overwhelming that you can't get started, pick one thing up in your room. When you walk in the room, look around. Pick one thing up that's out of place and put it away. The next time you walk in your room, pick one thing up. Honest to God, right? How do you eat an elephant? One effing bite at a time.
Yeah.
But if you don't take that first bite, that elephant is going to sit there until it stinks. Get eaten. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Start
that's
cleaning
so
the
cool.
wreckage of your past. Well, I apologize, folks. We weren't trying to turn it into a lifeboat, but sometimes
No, it's wherever it needs to go. And
Alexina,
I need
you're
to
in the
hear
right
all
place.
this today. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the right place. You are among friends. This is why we have wrenches, so that we can have conversations like this without the bottom feeders doing what they do, right? When people say, why do you need wrenches? This is why you need wrenches. We talk about heavy things, and we do what we can to protect the people who are around, right? From the jackwagons of the world.
Yeah.
Make your bed every day just to feel okay. I love it. So that was my cornerstone. And from that, I do yoga every single day. And I place that next one down. So when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I make my bed. Then I do yoga. Then I journal. I used to journal when I first rolled over because I was doing this dream therapy thing. But I have found that if I do yoga prior to doing my journal, it is a far more effective thing for me. I don't need to worry about info dumping. I did a whole show on this, but I don't need to worry about info dumping anymore. And a lot of people, info dumping is great when you can't come up with what you want to journal in the morning and it's difficult for you. Then you do it as soon as you get up and you info dump it. I'm to the place now where my journaling makes sense to me. Another thing that never felt comfortable, so uncomfortable, but I've gotten to the point where, I journaled when I was with you, man. I was even journaling back then.
Yeah.
I've been journaling for a really long time now.
I just can't journal, man. My all my therapists when I got out and was started, they made me go to therapy, and the first two were like, I need you to journal and bring it on Wednesday, and I could never get into journaling, and I don't know why. I think because when I write so fast I can't even read it, and I used to write slow and have nice printing and even penmanship sometimes, but now my mind is so nuts that I don't journal. And I still can't journal, but I do other things. I shifted to what I can do that is working for me. But I know journaling, everything that you've always said about journaling makes sense to me. And I wish I could do it. I just can't. And
you ever tried speaking it?
Yes, and that's what I do. That's what I do now.
Same thing. Yeah, that's the exact same
yeah.
thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah. There's a lot of people that prefer to do it in speaking it in.
Yeah.
As long as you're organizing your thoughts before you go to bed. I mean, that's really what you're trying to do. There you go.
It's in my bag.
As long as you're organizing your thoughts before you go to sleep, there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. I know a woman that does not journal but paints. And she paints as soon as she goes to bed. Right before she goes to bed, she paints as soon as she gets up in the morning. And I have watched this person become one of the most centered and calm individuals I've ever seen. I am of the belief that you don't have to do it with a pen to paper. And now I am going to run like hell because I am celebrating my son's birthday today.
Yay! Happy birthday, Calhoun! If he's in there.
Yesterday was actually Spanky's birthday, but he was under the weather. And
how old is he?
32.
Good age, man.
Yep. 32.
My early 30s were awesome, man.
And he's so much smarter than I was at 32. You know what I mean? Like he is so much more in tune and centered, and just he's just a great man. He's sick as shit. So I'm gonna take him shopping.
Okay.
We're gonna go get something to eat and spend the day.
Awesome.
But, I'm gonna see all of you later today. I promise.
Awesome. I'm gonna talk to the chat a little bit for a second about something. Just about my. I'm gonna start. Whittling down on my Suboxone, and because that shot that I got the other day is working. I woke up with zero pain this morning.
Nice. Take a lot of time, right?
I'm going to.
Going down off of Suboxone, you should be. This is my opinion to anybody, unless it's a financial thing.
Yeah.
When you start cutting them off, cut them off like they curl like an eyelash. Shave that much off and go 2 or 3 days, and you will go without any pain. I did it. It's there's nothing to it. Alrighty, peeps. I will see you all on the next one. Thank you, Casper. Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother. Later. Have a good day.
You too.
All right.
Look at that. There's 2 of me.
Hey. Hey guys, I'm going to stay on just for a little bit. I just want to catch up on the chat. I really have no clue what's going on. But I know you guys got it covered, and I'm not even worried. I'm not worried about the chat. I just want to support anything that needs to be supported, and just know that I'm here for everyone. Also, you guys all heard my story. Most of you guys heard my story. I did my story a few weeks ago. It's on my channel. It's not a monetized video or anything like that. So I don't monetize those videos just because when I send people there, I don't want people to think I'm sending them there for views. I have plenty of things that I can plug for views. So my story is over on the channel, and if you ever need me for anything, I am here. I mean, anything. Email me, to ask me in a chat. So yeah, I just want to talk about that a little bit. But yes, so I got this shot the other day. Remember I told you guys I'm getting a hip injection. So check it out. I didn't know what it was, but it's this little thing. You guys can see. I'm not being weird. Right there. So they took a. I do meetings, true crime. I do. I still go to meetings. It helps me with my perceptions and my perceptions only. I just go there. The addict part of me. I used to just go to church. I stopped going to meetings, and I would just go to church, and I would filter when I would go to meetings. I would filter my meetings through God and the Bible, and and the teachings there, but I also believe in reincarnation and all those things. So I'm not held down by the dogma of religion. but that's a whole nother show and conversation. So yes, I do meetings. Not as much as I should. Let's put it that way. My sponsor's on me about it. He tells me, hey, he can tell when I talk to him, he can tell. And my wife too, she'll say, hey, you need to get to a meeting. It's just because, I start to get out there a little bit because I'm crazy. I mean, we're all crazy a little bit, right? I know I am. But yes, thank you, Kristen Melinda. There's my contact info. I'm going to start checking it more once all these channels, because I produce everything. I'm the producer of all the channels. And so I have a lot going on just to make the channels seem more professional and more attractive so we can help more people. The Morning Mayhem show is more for Tommy and I's entertainment and to entertain you guys and to talk about current events and do things like that. Yes, James Collins, let me see. What is he saying? Casper, I look forward to chat with you and ask for a bit of public speaking advice and just chat for a few minutes when you have time. No stress on day or time. You're on the East Coast. Okay. Got it. We can do it anytime, brother. Let's do, you have a show, right? Or a channel. Let's just set up something where we can talk. I'm actually going on Blood on the Razor Wire today. I'm filming an episode for them to talk about federal prison, a specific prison, not my entire time, about some things that happened to me there. And I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, I need to check in with Chad right now. See what's up with him. Oh, he said in the evening. So I'm doing it tonight. Okay, brother, that sounds good. I was just talking about you on my morning show and thought I would check the text. This evening sounds perfect. So, anyways, I love all you guys so much, man. This show has changed my life. And the lifeboat and reconnecting with Tommy. And God is so amazing, or my higher power. We have these spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever you want to call them, and they communicate and they say, hey, Tommy and Sammy it's time for them to reconnect because they both need to either hear what each other has to say about life, love, or to help each other with this life and what we're going to be doing and what we're supposed to be working on in this life. And I believe that each life we work on a little bit more, and I'm not trying to get too foofy or weird, but I truly believe this, and from everything that I've read and have experienced in my 56 years of life, has led me to right now, right? I was supposed to do all that in federal prison. I was supposed to become a gang member. I was supposed to drop out of that gang and speak on my experiences, what happened. I was supposed to lose a wife in 1998. I was supposed to feel that pain, and I was supposed to mourn for 23 years and not have my shit together to come to this. So I can get closer to that light. We're all a spark of God's light, right? And we're just trying to reconnect with that light. It's all part of they call it the Trinity. Other religions call it something else, but it's all about love, not hate. But we are love. Our bodies are love. We are meant to love and to love each other, no matter race, creed, or religion. It's just a crazy, amazing thing. And I look forward to speaking to every one of you individually. Tommy's talking about a tour bus. I'm sure when we go through towns, or when he goes through towns, he's going to reconnect with people. Every once in a while, I'll be able to, break away from the ball and chain for a little bit and go meet everybody too. Yes, James Collins, same from when we first did Night Yard. You seem so familiar to me, and all I have is that avatar and what you say, but you seem really familiar to me too. And I think that's it's all past life stuff. Our souls, we travel in packs. And so we all do things for each other, sacrifice things for each other in each life. And our souls will cross paths again. And that's when you know, like, man, I know this person from somewhere. This person seems super familiar. That's all part of, we're in that same soul pack. You're a soul brother. I think the same thing with John Lazan. I think we're all soul brothers and we were supposed to meet. I know it's a silly thing called YouTube, but it's just what life has to offer and the different ways that we can cross paths. There's been lots of people in my life that I have crossed paths with people, but you don't realize it. It's a vibration, right? You just don't realize or can articulate it until you know, until someone says like, yeah, there's these things, they're called past lives. And Dr. Brian Weiss did a whole thing on past lives called Many Lives, Many Masters. It's one of the most amazing books, and I'll just talk about it. A Block and a Chain. There you go, true crime. I'll just talk about this book real quick. So, man, we're already after the 2 hours, but you know what? I'm going to tell this story. I hope we have a lot of people in the chat to hear this story. Man, I really want to tell this story with Tommy in the chat. But anyway, he can watch the replay. We'll set Tommy on the replay crew for what it'll probably be his first time ever. So anyway, why does it look like there's stuff on my lips? Anyway, so the marshals bring me to this county jail in Denver, right? They bring me to this county jail. I'm big. I've been working out. I'm big. Got a big swastika, lightning bolts on my neck. You know, my head is shaved. I'm a mean, tough guy. Really deep down inside, I'm just this systems engineer from Microsoft, right? But I've become this person, right? This person who's lost his wife, lost his brother to drunk drivers, who's lost custody of his daughters, and he's in prison. He's angry and he's mad and he just wants to fight, win or lose. He just wants to get beat up. But I do present myself as like a nice guy until something seems disrespectful. So I go into this county jail. They're booking me in. We're watching 2.5 Men on TV, and the booking, it's men and girls all mixed in. We're all getting booked into this county jail. The marshals bring me in. The guys in the county jail are like, whoa, like they can tell I'm a convict, not an inmate. And they're like, do we need to separate him? The marshal's like, no, he seemed cool. Just leave him in there. Well, anyway, this guy changes the channel, right? He walks in with this bravado. He's a bully. You can tell. That's one thing. I looked the part, but I was never a bully. Anyone will ever tell you, just from my voice, you can tell I'm not like a bully type guy, right? But I look tough and mean and well, we'll just call it like I look evil, from what society thinks what evil looks like. Because we all know evil can fester in the most innocent of looking people. Look at all the serial killers of our time, except for the Night Stalker. So anyway, I'm digressing. So I go in this jail. Guy changes the TV. I'm like, well, hey, man, we're watching that, right? I'm standing up for everybody. He's like, well, the basketball game's on, cuz. And I'm like, I'm not your cuz, bro. And then he called me a white boy. He's like, man, sit down, white boy. I was like, what did you say? I was like, you don't call me white boy. My name's Casper. You're going to call me Casper, brother. He's like, no, white boy, sit down. I was like, well, how about if I call you boy? Black boy, right? Or how about I just call you boy? How about that? Right? It's got super aggressive. He's like, man, step into this little area. It was like where the cops couldn't see. So I ran over there, right? But he didn't want to go over there. Anyways, I drag him into the area and we get in a fight. The cops come in, they spray us all down with pepper spray. I'm covered in pepper spray. They bring me to a shower to wash off all the pepper spray, and they lock me up in the hole. They put me in this hole. I'm handcuffed, right? I'm naked. I'm handcuffed, naked, dripping wet, and all the white boys in the hole. They're all pounding the door. Yeah, that's right, homeboy. giving me all this respect that I don't deserve because of my ink and the way I look. And they're like pounding on their, yeah, what would you do, man? Did you beat up that, using the N-word. And, I'm just walking all mean. Well, there's a book cart right in front of my cell, right? And I'm like, hey, can I get one of those books? And the guy's like, no, man, you're on disciplinary. You don't get a book. Those books are for the people that are in protective custody, they're classified in this unit, but I'm on disciplinary, so I don't get to read a book. And I was like, I didn't ask for a Bible or anything. I wasn't a Christian then. So I'm like, all right, F you then, man. So I get in my cell. I'm all alone. It's late. It's like 2 a.m. I make my bed and my adrenaline is still going. I just got washed off of pepper spray, just got in a big fight. And I'm laying in bed and I can't sleep and I'm tossing and turning and there's something like pressing on my shoulder, right? Like, man, is there something in this mattress? So I flip the mattress over and there's a hole in the mattress. So I reach my hand into the hole in the mattress and I'm feeling around. You know what? I've told Tommy this story. And I'm reaching around and I pull out this little book. It's like this big. It's like that thin. It's 181 pages or something like that. And it says many lives, many masters. So I'm like, all right, I can't sleep. I got a book. I'm a voracious reader. So I start reading this book. Mind you, it's 2 a.m, right? I start reading this book and it's good, right? It's keeping me, and I'm reading it and I kill it. It's like 6 a.m. They're bringing the lunch trays and I'm just now finishing this book. This book is about reincarnation, and it's about it's about how our souls travel in packs, just everything I said. And basically what happens in this book, this guy, he's a Harvard he was like the Harvard clinical director for psychiatry, right? And on campus, he would run into this girl. And finally, and so when you are a student at like an Ivy League school, you have free medical or not free medical, but you can go to their medical school and get treated. It's like a clinic, free clinic for students. But same thing with mental health, right? So this doctor tells this girl, he keeps seeing her and he always asks her if she's okay. He tells her, he just runs into her like randomly all over the place. So he says, hey, why don't you come in? Well, anyway, so he brings her in and she's laying down and they're talking and he's like trying to help her relax. We'll just call it hypnosis, right? But really he's just trying to help her to relax, do some breathing to calm her down. And she slips it. She like starts talking about a past life. She's like, well, I'm like this teacher and we're all wearing white robes and she's like, and you're there, but you're like this little boy that keeps pulling on my dress, on the garb that I'm wearing. It's something like that. I might have this story, but this is the concept of what she's talking of, what he's hearing. And he's like, wait, what? What the heck? So they talk a little bit more. And then she says, well, but someone's talking to me and they're telling me to tell you that you need to see me. Well, anyway, he ends up having like 100 sessions with this girl. They always digress into her different lives. And her spirit guide ends up talking to this Dr. Brian Weiss about what he wants him to do. And the spirit guide knows everything about him, like how his dad died from a heart attack. And there was no way this girl could have known any of this, right? And he told the doctor, yeah, your dad died of a heart attack for you, or he lost a son too, from a heart condition. But yeah, you guys agreed to come into this life. You were going to be the dad. He was going to be the son, and the son was going to die for the dad to experience that. So the dad's soul could learn about loss and the feeling of loving someone so much and losing that person to grow from that, because we grow from those lessons or those situations that we have in life. Well, anyway, there's so much more to it. But he ends up talking to the master spirit guide, and the master spirit guide tells him, no, you're going to write this book and you're going to go and talk about what happens to people when they die. And that's what this scientist, psychiatry, director of all the Harvard psychiatry does. He quits his job, writes this book called Many Lives, Many Masters, from all of the recordings with this girl. And what he did, he quit his job, wrote the book, and he started going to hospices and talking to people that were dying. And he comforted them. He's like, look, this is what's going to happen when you die. You're going to go to this spirit plane, and we'll just call that heaven, because that's what I believe it to be. And you are going to be reconnected with all the people in life. When you reconnect with your wife and your loved ones and your family, that's what this is. And you might, and I talked to my pastor about this one time, and I talked to another theologian about this, and basically what like Christianity is, Christianity tries to bring you so close to God by believing that Jesus died for our sins, but it's all just to love, right? And to forgive. Like Jesus says, if I can forgive you, you need to forgive everyone. It's all about that forgiveness and growing in love and compassion to get closer to God. And so basically Christianity is set up so you only have to do it this life that you become a Christian. Now, is that true or not? We don't know. There's no proof of that. But that's how I believe what Christianity falls into the whole reincarnation part of our existence, right? It's so we don't have to, and that's what that theologian who was a Christian told me. He's like, well, yeah, if you believe in that, then Christianity is just so you don't have to ever, you just have to do it this one time. You don't have to keep going back to get closer to God and to have to live through all those lessons. Christianity and Jesus made it possible through blind faith that we would do that. Anyway, I'm not making this a religious conversation. That's just my belief system. Whatever your belief system is, I'm sure there's a common denominator in a part of all of that. So anyways, that's my book. So I believe my spirit guide had me get in that fight, brought me to that jail from everything that I was going through in my life at that time. The marshals transported me to that jail. I was supposed to get into that fight so I could get brought up to that unit, the disciplinary unit, so the cop could tell me, no, I don't get to have a book, so I could lay in that bunk to be uncomfortable, to find that book. It's the only book available to me. So I read it. If there would have been 2 or 3 books available to me, or if I had grabbed a book off that book cart, I never would have read that book. That book from that moment changed my life. It's not like I don't read it as a Bible. I only read it that one time. I don't need to go back and read it again. I've bought in that book for many, many people that have hate in their heart and who get into a lot of bad situations. So I've purchased that book and have given it to people. Sometimes people are like, oh yeah, it was a good book, whatever. But I was so low in my life. I needed to hear those things in that book because I believed that my spirit guide at that time was my older brother who was killed in a car accident when I was 17. And I believe he helped guide me to that book so I could read it, so I could hear something that would ring true. Is it the truth? I'm going to say no, but it is true, but it's not the truth. I think there's so many things out there that are all that can ring true and that can be true. They all just mesh together, and so that's why I believe that book was so powerful for me to hear. And I didn't get saved. I didn't right after that, but that book changed my life. It made me want to love people more. And it made me want to, after that, I became a Buddhist because it aligned with reincarnation. And I don't know. That's my story of the book. It changed my life. It literally made me go from a prison gang member to a guy who just shook your hand and gave you a hug. And do you need anything from me today? Is there anything I can do for you, brother? If you rub me the wrong way, I don't care. If you're a psychic vampire and are trying to drain me of my spirit and my love, I want to hug you. I want to pray for you. Yeah, it was overnight. Things that people did to me didn't seem disrespectful, and it wasn't to me. I didn't take things personal. Now, do I fall back and forth with how? Yeah, of course I do. I'm human. I'm in this flesh. My flesh has desires. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I don't know. It just kind of come up in our conversation, and yeah. No, my shepherd left 99 sheep to go get Casper. Yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah. I probably should have took a drink of that like 30 minutes ago. But my mind was on a roll, man. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. True story. It kind of made me who the person I am today. You know, it changed my direction of where my life went. Now, did I have lots of problems in prison because of this newfound love that I had for human beings? Yes. And I've told those stories in a lot of interviews. And yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip. Life is a trip. Anyways, thanks for staying extra for that morning mayhem extra. Yeah, we'll just call it that. I'm gonna have to get an overlay where it goes mayhem extra or something like that. We like doing those things, man. You know, it might be over the top, but I do it for you guys to just be like, wow, that's crazy. Thank you guys. I see all your guys' comments. I really appreciate it. It is a fantastic story. It really is. I love that part of my story. Regardless of the content, writing, or anything else, that is a wonderful outcome from reading a book. Exactly. It could have been a Danielle Steele book talking about that same thing. It just turned my direction a little bit to lead me to where I'm at today, right? It gave me the ability to love that little girl who comes in. Now I'm going to start crying, but it led me to where I'm at today. And yeah, and it led me to you guys. It's a trip, man. It's a trip. So I appreciate all your guys' comments. I am seeing them, and I love you guys. I really do. And I definitely go check out that book if you can. I'm not saying a lot of people's religions wouldn't let them understand that book or believe that book. Luckily, I wasn't bound by any ideology before I read that book. Like if I had been just say I was already saved and a Christian and I would have read that, no, I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have hit the same way. I needed to read that book at that time, and I was directed into that book. I will do that, James. I will make a mayhem rewind from that. That's a good idea. I love you guys too. Thank you, True Crime Nut. I love you guys so much. I can't wait to can I finish with your video? Yes, I think I can. Yeah, I think I can. So that when we hit end stream, it says outro video. Well, I already have something in that slot, but let me see if I can turn that off. And you're very welcome, Kristen. It was great. I'll see you guys all tonight sometime, somehow, some way. And I'm just trying to put up everyone's comment. I don't know what that means, Susie, but I'm sure it's something positive. So thank you. Casper's caboose. Yeah, that's perfect because I'm at the end. Yeah. All right. I love you guys. I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna try to end with a little kabang bang. Let me see if it'll let me do it. It's not letting me do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play it. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Oh,